On a windswept hill above a silent sea, you witness Earth's last sunset. Amber fire sliding into the waves, while the starship below gathers thunder. Grief and wonder braid through the salt-tinged air. Every breath a keepsake, every heartbeat a countdown. In moments, the planet that cradled you will shrink to a blue ember, and the stars you once wished on will become your new address. Capture this light. When engines roar, it will be your compass, your farewell, and the promise you carry into the dark. It is late afternoon, and the sky is painted in gentle hues of amber and rose. The sun hangs low over the horizon, its light reflecting off the quiet ocean beyond. You stand on a grassy hill overlooking the sea, feeling a soft breeze that carries the scent of salt and earth. This is the last sunset on Earth that you will ever witness, and you take in every detail with reverent attention. Time seems to slow as you watch that golden orb descend, its glow casting long shadows behind you. Around you, a few others have gathered silently to share this final twilight. Some hold hands, others stand with arms around loved ones, everyone united by the bittersweet reality of this moment. A gentle hush falls over the group. No words are needed. The atmosphere is filled with a mixture of sadness and quiet hope, each person lost in their own thoughts, while also feeling the bond of a common fate. As the sun's warm rays touch your face one last time, you close your eyes, committing the sensation to memory. The sky begins to deepen into shades of orange and crimson. Wispy clouds catch the sun's fire, glowing like embers across the heavens. You notice the familiar silhouette of distant trees and the outline of the old launch facility in the valley below, all bathed in that fading light. In the far distance, the spacecraft that will carry you away stands ready. Its metallic hull glints faintly, reflecting the sky's colours. The ship looks almost serene, patiently awaiting departure against the backdrop of the sunset. This vessel will soon become your new home among the stars. Your heart swells with a complex mix of emotions. There is sorrow in saying goodbye to the only world you've ever known, but also a quiet excitement for the journey ahead. You feel the weight of history on this moment. Generations before have watched sunsets come and go, never imagining a day when humankind would leave Earth behind. Now that day has come, and you are part of it. You breathe deeply, inhaling the scent of grass and ocean air, trying to hold on to it for as long as possible. Each breath feels precious, a small keepsake of Earth to carry with you. The sun continues its slow descent. The golden disk touches the horizon and begins to slip away. A soft gasp or sigh escapes from someone nearby as the last sliver of sunlight narrows. You open your eyes again to watch the final moments. The sky transforms into a dazzling canvas, a blaze of red and gold at the horizon, melting into violet and deep blue higher above. A few stars have already appeared overhead, timid and pale against the still bright western glow. Venus, the evening star, twinkles just visible in the twilight, as if bidding farewell too. You find tears in your eyes, not from sadness alone, but from the overwhelming beauty of it all. Gently, you wipe them away, and in doing so, you catch a glimpse of others doing the same. There's no shame in these tears. They are an honest tribute to Earth and all it has given. In that shared silence, you feel the presence of countless memories. Childhood days under warm sunshine, nights spent gazing at the moon, soft grass underfoot, the sound of rain on leaves. All those moments are alive in this final sunset, flickering like the last rays of light at the edge of the world. As the sun finally sinks below the horizon, it leaves behind a lingering glow. The sky on the western edge burns for a few minutes more, then gradually dims. The first true darkness of night spreads across the sky. Stars emerge in greater numbers now, one by one, like shy witnesses stepping out to console the loss of daylight. Above the ocean, the evening star shines a little brighter as the world turns to face the cosmos. For a moment, everyone remains still, absorbing the reality that the sun has set on Earth for the last time in their lives. The gentle breeze continues to blow, rustling the grass around your feet. You listen to the natural sounds of this world, the distant crash of waves on the shore, the chirp of one last cricket in the brush, the soft sigh of wind, imprinting each sound into memory. Every sensation feels significant. This earth, our cradle, is saying a quiet goodbye in its own language of wind and wave and fading light. A soft chime from a communicator gently breaks the silence, reminding you that it is time. The ship's departure is imminent. People begin to stir from their thoughts, exchanging silent glances and supportive nods. You look once more at the horizon, now a band of deep purple where the sun disappeared, and then upward at the stars that will soon be your only sky. There is a sense of solemn purpose in the air. Though hearts are heavy, there's also a collective resolve shining in each person's eyes. Humanity's journey is about to continue far beyond this shore. With reluctant steps but steady resolve, you and the others begin to make your way down the hill towards the launch site. The path is illuminated by the soft glow of portable lamps, but you hardly need them. The memory of the sun's light still dances in your vision. Each step through the grass is deliberate. You feel the cool blades brush against your ankles, hear the gentle crunch of soil underfoot. These small sensations ground you, keeping you present in the moment, even as your mind drifts among stars and future possibilities. As you walk, you cast your gaze about to drink in the familiar sights one final time. There's the old twisted oak tree by the path, its leaves turning silhouette black under the growing starlight. Far off to your right, the roof of a farmhouse peeks out from a grove of trees, a place that once housed laughter, meals, and ordinary days now forever in the past. And ahead, the lights of the spacecraft shimmer, beckoning with promise and mystery. Reaching the base of the hill, you come to the perimeter of the launch facility. The spacecraft towers before you, illuminated by gentle floodlights. It stands sleek and tall, a craft built for the cosmos, with smooth lines and a silvery hull that reflects the dim twilight. The site is calm and ordered. There is no frantic rush, only a quiet sense of duty. Crew members methodically perform final checks, their voices low and steady as they communicate. Families and friends say their last farewells at the edges of the field, embracing one another in long, heartfelt hugs. You pause for a moment at the open hatch of the ship, turning to look back at the scene behind you. The darkened hillside, where you watch the sunset, is barely visible now, but above it, the sky is brilliant with stars. The Milky Way arcs overhead in a majestic sweep, more vibrant than you've ever seen, now that night has fully fallen. It's as if the universe has opened a door full of new light, just as the familiar daylight closed. The sight is quietly breathtaking and reassuring. Though one chapter ends, another begins among those countless stars. Taking a deep breath, you step across the threshold into the spacecraft. The air inside is cool, and carries a faint sterile scent mixed with something new. Perhaps the aroma of the life support systems or recycled air, the smell of a self-contained world. The corridor you enter is softly lit with a golden glow meant to be easy on the eyes. As the hatch closes gently behind you, a subtle vibration in the floor reminds you that the ship is alive and waiting. This will be your home now. The thought is both strange and comforting at once. You find your designated place for launch and settle into a seat that cradles you securely. Others file in quietly, each absorbed in personal thoughts. Harnesses click softly as everyone fastens in. The lighting in the cabin dims, and a calm voice comes over the intercom, going through pre-launch procedures. You tune it out momentarily to reflect. Your hand rests against the small window at your side, fingers splayed on the cool glass. Outside, you see the silhouettes of those staying behind, tiny figures waving farewell in the floodlight's glow. Your heart aches gently as you lift your hand in a slow wave back, even if they cannot see you behind the tinted window. It's a final goodbye to loved ones who will remain on Earth. You whisper a silent promise to carry their hopes and dreams with you to the stars. In this quiet moment, you feel both the weight of what you are leaving and the importance of what you are seeking ahead. The voice on the intercom drifts in and out of your awareness, and all that exists for you is the scene outside and the steady beating of your heart. Suddenly, a soft tone signals that departure is truly at hand. The ship's systems come alive with a low hum that reverberates through your seat and into your bones. The gentle vibration is oddly soothing, like the purring of a giant cat. You close your eyes for just a second, centering yourself, feeling the calm within the growing energy of the spacecraft. This is it, the threshold between Earth and the deep unknown. When you open your eyes, you see the ground crew retreating to a safe distance, and a series of small lights blink along the launch area. In these final seconds on Earth, you take one more look at the world outside the window. The night envelops everything now, but the darkness is mild under the starlight. The ocean far off glistens faintly with reflected stars, as if the heavens themselves have spilled onto the water. The silhouette of the distant hillside and that beloved oak tree is just visible against the sky. In your mind, you say goodbye to the oceans and forests, to the wind and rain, to the boundless skies of Earth. Gratitude fills you, calm and profound, for all that this world has given. A subtle change in the ship's hum draws your attention back inside. Your seat softly vibrates a little more intensely as power flows through the engines. The intercom voice, serene and steady, counts down the final moments. You inhale deeply and exhale slowly, heart steady, mind open and ready. There is a collective stillness among you and your fellow travellers, a shared breath being held. Then, a gentle lurch. The engines ignite with a controlled, muffled roar, and you are pressed back slightly into your seat. Through the window, you see the ground slowly falling away. The lights of the launch field shrink, and a few sparks of flame beneath the ship glow for a moment, illuminating the concrete pad before being left behind. Incredibly, the ascent is smooth and almost tranquil, not the jarring liftoff you expected. The engineering of this vessel dampens the turbulence, and so you rise steadily, peacefully, into the night sky. Your stomach flutters as gravity shifts subtly, but excitement steadies you. You watch the world outside expanding. First the coastline comes into view, a dark outline against the shimmering sea. Then more of the continent reveals itself in the faint night light. The curvature of the earth begins to show as a gentle arc on the horizon. Twinkling city lights emerge across the land like clusters of tiny stars, human constellations, bidding you farewell. A soft gasp of awe escapes your lips as the scenery grows ever wider and more magnificent. Higher and higher the ship climbs, cutting through thin clouds that flash past the window as silver wisps. Soon, the deep blue sky turns into an inky midnight shade, and stars no longer flicker. They burn steady and clear, freed from the atmosphere. The transition from air to space is so gentle that you almost don't notice when the last traces of Earth's atmosphere slip away. One moment, there is a slight shudder, and then a calm stillness. The only motion is the subtle vibration of the engines and the forward momentum carrying you onward. Looking back through the window, you behold the full curve of your planet. The Earth lies below, a luminous crescent edged with the soft glow of the atmosphere. The oceans glint under the moonlight, and the clouds swirl in pearly patterns over dark continents. The sight is breathtaking and humbling. You see your home as a fragile, beautiful sphere suspended in the velvet darkness, radiant with blue and white hues. In that instant, you truly understand how precious it is. A quiet tear traces down your cheek as you smile softly. There is sadness, but also deep love, and a strange peace in seeing Earth from this vantage, as if it's gently watching over you, wishing you well on your journey. Inside the cabin, the lights remain dim, and the crew's voice over the intercom congratulates everyone on a successful launch. A soft cheer or sigh of relief passes through the travellers. There are a few claps, but even those are muted, respectful of the moment. Soon the ship will shift from launch mode to cruise mode. The artificial gravity systems will engage, and life aboard will begin in earnest. For now, you remain secured in your seat, weightless but held in place by the harness. It's a curious sensation. Your body feels light, almost like you're floating on a gentle current, yet you are snug and safe. As Earth slowly recedes behind you, stars fill every window. The Milky Way is a magnificent ribbon of light, full of ancient starlight, arching across the darkness. You notice how many more stars are visible out here, so far from city lights, and now even above the atmosphere. They shimmer in colours, some blue, some golden, some faintly red. It's as if the universe has unveiled her finest jewels, now that you have stepped away from your old home. You feel incredibly small, and yet part of something so vast and grand. A sense of wonder wells up inside you, quiet and profound. You glance around at your fellow voyagers seated nearby. Some are gazing out of their own windows with expressions of amazement. Others have their eyes closed, perhaps saying silent farewells or prayers. A few share smiles with loved ones seated beside them, eyes bright with tears of emotion. There is an unspoken understanding passing among everyone, a mix of triumph that you are finally on your way, and the gravity of knowing there is no turning back. In the dim light, you see gentle handholds and embraces, comforting and encouraging one another as the ship leaves Earth's embrace. One of the crew members floats by gracefully, moving down the aisle to check on passengers, offering a reassuring smile and a few soft words that all is well. Their calm demeanour adds to the sense of tranquility. When they reach you, you return the smile, feeling grateful for the peaceful guidance of those trained to shepherd this voyage. You realize that this journey is not just a physical one, but an emotional and spiritual one too. Each person here carries hopes for the future, memories of the past, and a willingness to face the unknown. In that regard, you are all the same, a family of wanderers bound by destiny and choice. Gradually, the immediate thrill and intensity of launch begin to ebb, replaced by a gentle quiet. The engines tone down into a barely audible whisper as the ship reaches the silence of space, now coasting on momentum until the next phase. The intercom chirps softly. The captain's voice comes through, warm and steady, informing everyone that they have safely reached space and will soon begin interstellar cruise procedures. She reminds everyone to remain seated until gravity is induced. There is genuine happiness in the captain's voice, as if she too is moved by this historic step. Looking once more out the window, you catch sight of the receding Earth. Already it has diminished noticeably, the entire globe now fitting within your view. The sun's first rays are cresting over the curve of the planet, creating a delicate halo of dawn on the edge of night. It strikes you that down on the surface, somewhere, a new day is beginning for those left behind, even as your own journey carries you into endless night. The irony and poetry of that moment bring a gentle smile to your face. Life continues there, and life begins anew up here, each in different rhythms. As you watch, the Earth becomes a pearl-like orb against the curtain of space. The last visible ties to home are slipping away into distance. Still, you feel connected, as if an invisible thread of memory and love links you to that blue world. You whisper a soft goodbye, only for your own ears, and perhaps for the Earth to hear in its own way. Goodbye to the lands and the oceans. Goodbye to the sky you knew. Goodbye to the life that was. And thank you. Always thank you. In the quiet that follows, you find yourself breathing easier. The anticipation and heavy emotion of departure give way to a calm acceptance. You are really here, aboard a generation ship leaving Earth. The reality settles gently into your bones. Curiously, instead of fear, you feel a serene courage, as if the universe itself has placed a comforting hand on your shoulder. The stars outside do not feel cold or alien. They feel like new friends inviting you onward. Earth's final gift to you was this sense of belonging in the cosmos. After a short while, a subtle shudder goes through the vessel as the rotation for artificial gravity starts. Slowly, the ship's habitat section begins to spin, and you feel the faintest pull returning to your limbs. The harness on your seat loosens automatically once a safe level of gravity is achieved, and you realize you can move without floating away. Carefully, you unstrap and place your feet on the floor. There is weight again, gentle, not as strong as Earth's gravity, but enough to keep you oriented. All around, others do the same, some chuckling softly as they regain the sense of up and down. A child nearby giggles as a toy that was drifting now falls lightly into their lap. The sound of that innocent laughter lightens the atmosphere, drawing smiles and even a quiet laugh from those around. A voice announces that it is safe to move about the cabin. Slowly, you stand, steadying yourself on the back of the seat until you get used to the slightly different gravity. It almost feels like walking in a dream, a lightness to your step that is novel and strangely freeing. You take a moment to stretch your arms and roll your shoulders, easing any tension from launch. There's a collective sigh of relief and contentment as people begin to explore the freedom of movement again. The hardest part is over, and it went peacefully. Now the long voyage truly begins. Peering out the window again, you see that Earth is now just a bright sphere against the velvet darkness, growing smaller with each passing minute. Stars fill the rest of the view. Somewhere out there, you think, is the destination your descendants, or perhaps even you, if fate allows, will reach one day. But that is a far-off chapter of this story. Right now, in this moment, you simply exist in between worlds, floating onward. The sun is not visible from your window at this angle, but you know it's behind you, pushing you forward with its gravitational goodbye. Inside the ship's cabin, soft music begins to play through the speakers. A gentle, soothing melody chosen to ease everyone into the new reality. The notes are calm and reassuring, an elegant composition that feels both hopeful and a little haunting. It perfectly mirrors what you feel, hope laced with the melancholy of parting. You let the music wash over you as you continue to gaze outward, letting your mind drift among the stars. Each sparkling light out there is ancient, distant, and yet here you are, among them at last. Eventually, you step away from the window to gather your small carry-on bag and follow the others out of the launch seating area. There's a corridor bathed in soft blue light, leading deeper into the ship, and signs guiding people to their assigned quarters. As you walk slowly down the hallway, you feel the gentle thrum of the ship through the floor, steady and rhythmic. It is like the heartbeat of this artificial world, a reassuring constant in this strange new environment. With each step, you grow more accustomed to the reduced gravity, finding a natural, slow gait that matches the restful pace of everything around you. You reach a round entranceway that opens as you approach, revealing the habitat section of the ship, where you will live day to day. Stepping through, you catch your breath at the sight. An open space stretches out before you, far larger than you expected inside a spacecraft. It is designed like a small town or neighborhood contained within cylindrical walls that curve up and overhead, eventually meeting far above to form the ceiling. Along those inner walls, you see sections that mimic Earth scenery, painted sky and clouds, panels that simulate a horizon. Gentle illumination mimics dusk at the moment, casting a warm twilight glow throughout the habitat. It feels as if you've walked into a peaceful evening on some tranquil street back on Earth, encased in a protective shell. A cobblestone path lies underfoot, and to your left you see something that makes your heart lift, a cluster of living trees and plants. They have small lantern-like lights hanging among their branches, and beneath them are benches and even a little pond that reflects the faux twilight. A few passengers are already wandering over, mesmerized by the presence of real greenery. The air here carries a faint fragrance of foliage and damp soil, carefully maintained by the life support gardens. That scent instantly soothes you. It smells like life continuing, like hope preserved. The designers of the ship clearly understood how important it is to carry a piece of Earth's nature into the voyage. All around, there are doors leading to private quarters and communal rooms. You follow the guidance on your wrist tag and soon find the small apartment assigned to you. The door slides open silently to a cozy space. It is simple but thoughtfully furnished. A bed secured to the wall, a desk with a built-in screen, a shelf already stocked with a few books and basic personal items that were moved in earlier. You notice that even here, there's a small round window. When you peer through it, You find yourself looking out into the starry expanse once more, from a different angle than before. A distant nebula shines faintly as a patch of milky light, and countless stars wink patiently. You set your bag down and sit on the edge of the bed. For a long moment, you simply breathe and let it sink in. You are inside a spaceship, leaving Earth forever. And yet, in this small room, lit by a soft lamp and anchored by gravity, you could almost pretend you were in a tiny apartment back in some quiet town. The illusion is kind, easing the transition. You run your hand over the bedsheets and feel the fabric. Even these small tactile details give comfort, reminding you that life has continuity. There will still be soft beds, warm lights, and everyday routines. Fatigue from the emotional day begins to catch up with you. Your body, still adjusting to everything, feels a pleasant heaviness. Lying back on the bed, you gaze at the ceiling where a dim projection of stars flickers. Perhaps a decorative touch to make the room feel more like home for a stargazer. It makes you smile. With the gentle hum of the ship in the background and the memory of that last sunset filling your heart, you close your eyes just for a moment to rest. In the darkness behind your eyelids, the image of Earth at sunset glows vividly, and beyond it, the stars beckon. This is how the journey begins, with a final farewell to Earth and a step into the unknown, cradled by starlight. In the next hours and days, you will awaken to a new routine, a life among the cosmos. But for now, in this twilight between what was and what will be, you allow yourself to simply be at peace, drifting gently into a light sleep as the ship sails onward through the night. Slowly, the days aboard the ship begin to take on a gentle routine. After the excitement and emotion of departure, life gradually finds its rhythm in this floating world. You wake to the soft glow of an artificial dawn filtering through your cabin. The ceiling panels shift from night stars to a subtle blue, mimicking a sunrise that coaxes you from sleep. There's a quiet peace as you open your eyes and remember where you are. Not on Earth, but in the embrace of a starship gliding through space. The hum of the engines is a distant whisper, steady and comforting, like a familiar lullaby that continues even as you wake. You rise from your bed, feeling rested, the lighter gravity making each movement unhurried and gentle. As you dress and step out into the corridor, you join others who are beginning their day. In the habitat section, the ship's internal lights have brightened to simulate a morning sky. The curved walls that once showed twilight are now painted with the soft golden hues of a peaceful sunrise. It feels natural, easing everyone into wakefulness with warm light that stretches across the little communal park and glints on dewdrops clinging to leaves in the garden. Yes, there is morning dew here, a programmed cycle of moisture that feeds the plants and recreates the fresh scent of an earth morning. The air even carries a faint hint of petrichor, that earthy fragrance after rain, as sprinklers have misted the central garden during the night. Walking along the path by the garden, you hear the gentle trickle of water in the pond and birdsong playing softly through hidden speakers. The designers chose calming nature sounds from Earth to fill these mornings. The effect is enchanting and calming. If you close your eyes, you could almost believe you were back on Earth, walking through a dew-kissed meadow at dawn. A few small sparrow-like birds flit among the branches of the indoor trees. They are real, living birds brought on board to enrich the ecosystem. You pause to watch one hop from branch to branch, its tiny movements lively in the stillness. It chirps a little tune, and the sound makes you smile. A warm reminder that life endures in many forms on this voyage. Other passengers stroll by, some offering a soft good morning, voices kept low out of respect for the tranquil atmosphere. In the distance, you notice an elderly couple sitting on a bench under a flowering tree, quietly sipping cups of tea and watching the day begin. Nearby, a young man tends to the vegetable patch, carefully checking the leaves of tomato and lettuce plants that grow under bright lamp panels. He gently waters a few sprouts, humming to himself. These simple scenes of daily life bring a sense of normalcy that is both comforting and surreal. Even in the midst of an interstellar journey, people still tend gardens, share morning tea, and greet the new day. You make your way to the communal kitchen area where breakfast is being prepared. The aroma of fresh baked bread and brewed coffee drifts through the air, mingling with the greenery's scent. A small group has gathered to help cook and serve. Everyone on board takes turns with chores and duties, fostering a sense of community. This morning, a father and his teenage daughter are at the stove, flipping golden pancakes and smiling as they chat softly. A little further, a scientist still in her coveralls from an early maintenance check pours juice for a few children, who giggle as she playfully ruffles their hair. The scene is gentle and familial. You join the line and soon receive a warm breakfast on a tray, fruit grown in the hydroponic garden, a slice of bread from the ship's bakery, and a cup of tea. Seating yourself at a long wooden table, you dine with several others, exchanging polite good mornings and quiet conversation. Some discuss the tasks planned for the day, a check on the water recycling unit, a lesson in the classroom for the children about the solar system, a scheduled observation of a nearby comet through the telescopes. Others simply eat in companionable silence, savouring the meal. The food is simple but nourishing, its flavours comforting in their familiarity. As you sip your tea, you glance around and think how remarkable it is that this place, so far from Earth, can still feel like home on a morning like this. There are laughter and soft voices, the clink of cups and plates, the routines of life carrying on. After breakfast, everyone sets about their daily activities. You volunteer for garden duty today. In the heart of the habitat, you kneel by the soil beds alongside a few others, gently pruning plants and checking their health. The soil feels cool and real between your fingers, a reminder of the earth that soil once came from. Earth's biosphere now lives in microcosm here. Rich black soil, earthworms turning it quietly, green plants breathing out oxygen. Each snip of a dead leaf and each tiny new bud emerging is significant. The garden is not just for food, it's a living heart of the ship, providing oxygen, filtering water, and lifting spirits. Tending to it feels almost like a sacred duty, a way to stay connected to nature and to the planet everyone left behind. As you work, you find yourself quietly humming a tune that comes to mind, an old lullaby your mother sang to you about sunshine and roses. One of your companions in the garden hums along upon recognizing it. The melody spreads softly among you, and soon a few people are singing in low voices as they water and weed. The song is gentle and nostalgic, carrying through the air like a comforting embrace. In that moment, you all share a poignant connection through music and memory, and the garden itself seems to thrive a little brighter, as if nourished by your voices and care. Once the morning's tasks are done, the midday period brings a bit of free time. Some people retreat to their quarters to read or rest, while others gather in common areas for recreation. You decide to visit the observation deck, a favourite spot for many, to see what lies outside today. The observation area is a large transparent dome at one end of the habitat cylinder, where a thick shield can retract to reveal a panoramic window to space. When you arrive, you find a small group already there, gazing out into the cosmos. Beyond the glass stretches the vast, star-speckled darkness of space. Against that black canvas, a glowing object dominates the view. A bright golden sphere, banded with swirls of white and orange. Jupiter. The ship's course has brought you close enough now that Jupiter appears as more than just a point of light. It is a magnificent giant hanging out there in the void, illuminated by the distant sun. Though still far away by planetary standards, the image is sharp and clear, with the aid of the ship's powerful optical systems. You can discern the marbled pattern of its clouds, the great red spot as a tiny but distinct oval marking the planet's turbulent atmosphere. The sight is mesmerizing. Quietly, others murmur in awe. A mother holds up her toddler so he can peek with wide eyes at the enormous planet. An older gentleman, who had worked many years as an astronomer on Earth, wipes his eyes, overwhelmed to see Jupiter with his own eyes from space rather than through Earth's telescopes. The mood in the observation deck is reverent. This is a moment many had dreamed of, to truly sail among the planets and behold their grandeur firsthand. Jupiter's presence seems almost gentle from this distance. A sleeping giant, painted in soft hues. One of the crew explains in a hushed tone that they will be using Jupiter's gravity to slingshot further outward. A clever boost to the ship's journey. As you listen, you feel a swell of gratitude and wonder. Not only are you leaving Earth, you are also visiting these distant worlds, if only in passing, and that is a privilege beyond words. As the ship glides onward, Jupiter slowly drifts out of frame, making way for the endless night once again. You linger a while, watching as stars come back into focus where Jupiter's bright form had been. The observation dome grows quiet as people absorb what they've seen, and then gently disperse to continue their day. You take one more long look at the planet receding in the distance, a silent farewell to Jupiter's tranquil beauty, before you too step away with a peaceful heart. In the afternoon, you attend a small gathering in the Central Park area of the habitat. Today, one of the elders, a woman who was a teacher on Earth, has offered to share stories with the children. You sit on the grass, which is soft and well kept, forming a circle with several others beneath the shade of an oak tree that stands tall even here under an artificial sky. The children cluster at the front, some cross-legged, some sprawled on their bellies, eyes full of curiosity. The old teacher smiles, lines of wisdom and kindness crinkling at the corners of her eyes. In her hand, she holds a worn, leather-bound book that she managed to bring from Earth. In a clear, gentle voice, she begins to read a story from long ago. A tale about explorers crossing an ocean to find new lands. Her voice has a musical quality that captivates the young ones. And as she reads, the adults listen just as intently, many with eyes closed, letting the words paint images in their minds. The story speaks of courage and uncertainty, of homes left behind, and the promise of tomorrow. It resonates deeply with everyone here. As the teacher's voice carries on the still air, you gaze up at the leaves of the oak tree above, light filtering through them in a pattern that dances on the ground. You feel the parallels between the story and your own odyssey. Though separated by centuries and the vast difference between sea and space, the core emotions are the same. Hope, bravery, and the making of a new home far away. When the story ends, the children clap softly and beg for another. The teacher laughs quietly and agrees to tell them one more tale, this time a personal memory. She describes the first time she ever saw snow as a little girl on Earth. She paints the scene vividly, how the world turned quiet and white, how the cold flakes tingled on her face, how she built a small snowman with her brother and felt pure joy. As she speaks, a hush falls over the group. Some of the children have never seen snow, except in pictures and videos stored in the ship's archives. They listen wide-eyed, and one boy reaches out a hand as if to catch an imagined snowflake. You smile at that, heart both aching and hopeful, aching that these children will grow up without experiencing some of Earth's simple wonders firsthand, but hopeful because they are inheritors of something just as wondrous, the endless frontier of space, where they will make their own memories. Later, as evening approaches, you find yourself in the ship's workshop, assisting with a small project. One of the hydroponic water pumps has been acting up, and a few of you have volunteered to help repair it under the guidance of an engineer. The workshop is a cozy space filled with neatly organized tools and workbenches. A radio softly plays instrumental music, adding to the calm atmosphere. Together, you hand the engineer tools when asked, hold a light steady as she replaces a valve, and learn a bit about how the ship's systems work. There's a satisfying sense of camaraderie in working side by side, keeping your vessel in good shape. The engineer explains with a patient smile how important each system is. The water pumps, the air filters, the heat exchangers, all quietly working behind the scenes to sustain your small community in the void. You feel a deep appreciation for these machines and for the people who maintain them, and you're glad to contribute in your own way. When the repair is finished, water flows smoothly through the pipes again, and everyone cheers softly, exchanging appreciative pats on the back. It's a small victory, but each minor fix and task accomplished keeps life running smoothly out here. By the time you step out of the workshop, the habitat lighting has shifted to mimic late evening. A gentle dusk has fallen inside the ship. The overhead lights are dimmed to a twilight glow, and long shadows stretch across the ground. Many people have gathered again in the communal areas after their day's work. You see a couple walking slowly along the garden path, hand in hand, speaking in low voices, and occasionally pointing upward at the painted sky, perhaps reminiscing about real evenings under Earth's heavens. Others have settled on the grass, gazing up at the projected stars that now dot the artificial twilight, matching the constellations as they would appear from Earth at this time of year. It is a beautiful and bittersweet sight, a recreation of an Earth night, comforting and familiar. Yet beyond the walls of the ship lies the true cosmos, vast and strange. Feeling a desire for a little solitude before night, you wander toward a small corner of the habitat, where a few porthole windows offer an unfiltered view outside. Pressing your forehead gently to the cool glass, you peer out at the real stars. The ship is coasting steadily further from the sun. Here, nearer the outskirts of the solar system, the starry background has grown even richer. With less sunlight flooding the surroundings, more stars can be seen than ever before. They crowd the darkness in quiet glory. Among them, you notice one particularly bright point with a bluish tint. You realize with a flutter in your heart that it's not a star at all, but Saturn, currently some distance ahead on your ship's trajectory. Even from afar, Saturn shines with a golden light, hinting at the beauty of its rings that you will soon see more closely. In the days that follow, anticipation builds on the ship as Saturn draws nearer. The course is plotted to take you close enough for a good view, while still giving the planet a wide berth for safety. People swap facts and recollections about Saturn's stunning rings and moons, preparing for the encounter as if getting ready for a special holiday. The children are especially excited. Teachers incorporate lessons about Saturn into their classes, and art projects of ringed planets adorn the walls of the schoolroom. The whole community feels the uplift of having a shared goal on the horizon, something to look forward to together. Finally, the day arrives. The ship nears Saturn, and once again the observation dome becomes a gathering place. This time the curtains are drawn back fully, and the entire dome offers a breathtaking panoramic vista. Saturn appears, a pale golden globe encircled by its ethereal rings, larger and clearer with each passing hour. Gasps of astonishment and delight echo in the dome as everyone takes in the view. The rings are splendid and otherworldly, delicate bands of ice and rock illuminated by the distant sunlight, shining like a cosmic rainbow encircling the planet. You see the gaps between the rings, the subtle colours ranging from creamy white to hints of brown and grey. Saturn's body is banded softly, less vivid than Jupiter, but elegant, with a gentle haze around its edge. A few of Saturn's moons are visible too, tiny pearls orbiting their parent planet. Tears well in your eyes at the sheer beauty of it, and a glance around shows you that many are similarly moved. Some embrace, others stand arm in arm, sharing this profound experience. In a quiet voice, the captain, who has joined the group, remarks how humanity has gazed at Saturn through telescopes for centuries. But now here you are, true explorers, witnessing it with your own eyes. There's a ripple of pride and wonder at that thought. Cameras capture images to store in the ship's logs and to send back towards Earth, a gift for those at home, proof that their brave voyagers have reached this far. The ship passes at a respectful distance below the plane of the rings, giving everyone a wide-angle view of the ring system shimmering against the black of space. Sunlight gleams off the icy particles, creating a halo effect that is almost spiritual to behold. You find yourself holding your breath, wanting to imprint the sight into your memory forever. Time seems to stand still in that observation dome, as if all the years of travel and effort were worth this single moment of cosmic magnificence. Eventually, Saturn begins to recede, slowly diminishing in size. People linger as long as possible, watching until the planet becomes a smaller, golden disk, and then finally, just another bright point of light among many. Quietly, the group disperses, each person carrying a glow of awe and fulfillment with them. As you step out of the dome, you overhear a little girl tell her mother that she's going to dream about the rings tonight. Her mother smiles and says she will too. You smile, knowing that images of Saturn will grace countless dreams aboard the ship. Time flows gently aboard the generation ship, and the journey continues. Days blend into weeks, weeks into months. The routine of life provides structure, tending the gardens, maintaining the ship's systems, learning, storytelling, and gazing out at the cosmos during calm evenings. The ship's calendar is marked with new milestones that slowly replace Earth's familiar seasons. Instead of spring, summer, autumn, winter, people note events like crossing the asteroid belt or the anniversary of departure from Earth. These become the markers of time and progress. One quiet day, you find yourself in the library section of the ship, a cozy room lined with both physical books and digital screens. The lights are warm and dim, and a few others sit in plush chairs reading or dozing quietly. You select a book of Earth poetry and sink into a chair by a window. Outside, the stars shine endlessly. As you read, a particular verse resonates with you. It speaks of journeys and the souls of travelers, of carrying home within and seeking it ahead. You close your eyes and savor the words, realizing how each person here is like a living poem, verses of an epic that spans the stars. It is in moments like this, quietly reading among friends in the vast night of space, that a deep contentment settles in you. There is a sense of purpose and peace aboard the ship. Each day that passes, you are further from the old world, and yet forging something new and meaningful. The people around you, once strangers perhaps, have become like family. Bonds have formed through shared work, wonder, and even occasional hardship. On a ship isolated in the cosmos, kindness and cooperation become natural law. You've seen it time and again. Individuals supporting each other, sharing resources and comfort, ensuring no one feels alone in the endless night. Of course, there are moments of melancholy too. Sometimes, especially during the artificial evenings, a wave of longing for Earth sweeps through you. Perhaps you recall a particular memory, watching fireflies on a summer night, or the embrace of a dear friend left behind. In those moments, you might see the same wistful look in another's eyes, and know they are feeling it as well. And so, someone will start a familiar Earth song, or suggest baking a traditional treat, or simply sit together exchanging fond memories. These gentle acts ease the homesickness, turning what could be sorrow into a quiet tribute to the planet that raised you all. In this way, the ship carries not just humanity's future, but also its cherished past, alive in every story told and every memory shared. And new memories are being made too. The first child born on the ship is one such joyous milestone. One peaceful morning, news spreads through the corridors that a baby girl has been delivered in the medical bay, healthy and strong. A wave of joy and renewed hope washes over everyone. The baby's cries, tiny and demanding, become the sweetest sound the community has heard, echoing down the halls. People exchange teary smiles and laughter, congratulating the new parents, even if from afar, to give them space to rest. The captain makes a brief announcement, her voice filled with emotion, welcoming the little one as the first of a new generation born in the stars. That day, impromptu celebrations spring up. Someone bakes special pastries from their precious store of flour. A musician plays a gentle melody on a violin he brought along, and there is a feeling of festival aboard. This small child, never having felt Earth's gravity or breathed its air, is nonetheless surrounded by love and the heritage of Earth through the people around her. In her tiny face, sleeping peacefully in her mother's arms, many see the promise that the journey will go on, that humanity will flourish wherever it finds itself. As months turn into years, you mark the passage of time, not by calendars alone, but by watching that child and others grow. Toddlers learn to walk in the light gravity, their laughter ringing through the corridors as they chase each other under the watchful eyes of parents and friendly neighbours. A little boy born shortly after her now toddles beside her, the two holding hands as they take wobbly steps in the garden, giggling when a butterfly, born in the ship's greenhouse, flutters past. These children know the oak tree and the pond as their playground, the observation dome as their window to wonder, and the whole community as their extended family. They will never see Earth firsthand, except through stories and pictures, but they inherit the dreams and knowledge of Earth every day. You realize, as you witness these moments, that this is precisely what a generation ship is meant for. It is not just a vessel of steel and technology. It is a vessel of life, carrying not only people, but culture, memories, and the seeds of future civilizations. The voyage is long, far longer than a single human lifespan. But here, within these walls, life continues unabated, renewing itself with each birth, each child's laughter, each friendship formed. The ship truly has become a world of its own, small but complete, an island of humanity moving through the cosmic sea. Sometimes, when your duties are done and you have a quiet moment, you stand in front of a mirror in your quarters and are surprised by the reflection. The face looking back at you has changed subtly with time. A few more laugh lines around the eyes, perhaps a new streak of silver in the hair. Time does pass here, even if the days feel fluid. It's then that you think of those still on Earth, aging under the sun, and you wonder how they are. News from Earth comes sporadically now, transmitted across the widening gulf of space. There is a long delay for each message, but still, hearing a greeting or update from home warms everyone's heart. Each time a communication arrives, it is an occasion. People gather as a recording of familiar voices plays through the speakers, sharing news of Earth's weather, of changes in cities and forests, of well wishes and encouragement from those who remember the voyagers. The connection is tenuous and stretched by distance, but it persists, a silver thread tying you to the cradle of humanity. It won't be long, you know, perhaps just a few more years, before even light-speed messages will take too long to be practical, and the communication will cease. But for now, each word from Earth is cherished, carefully archived, and sometimes played again in the evenings, like one might reread a beloved letter. In return, the generation ship sends back its own messages, recordings of your milestones and daily life to let those back home know that you are well. You can picture, in your mind's eye, family or friends on Earth, listening to the accounts of your Jupiter and Saturn flybys, or smiling at images of the children's drawings of life in space, or tearing up at the news of the baby's birth aboard. This exchange, even across unimaginable distances, binds the two worlds. One world sailing among the stars, and one remaining in the sun's warm embrace. It is a gentle comfort that while you journey outward, you are not entirely alone. Humanity back on Earth shares a part of this voyage with you, through each hello and farewell sent across the void. And so, the Odyssey continues at a measured, unrushed pace. The ship travels further, past the realms of the known planets, and into the deeper reaches of the solar system. The sun grows ever fainter behind you. Each passing week, you notice it diminishing, no longer the overwhelming glow it once was, but still a beacon guiding you from behind, a reminder of where you came from. The solar panels and energy collectors adjust to glean what they can from the weakening sunlight, supplemented more and more by the reactor power that hums steadily in the engineering decks. The crew keeps a close eye on all systems, but everything is functioning smoothly. The ship is healthy and strong, like a well-tended garden or a trusted old friend carrying you all safely. Outside the protective bubble of the ship, the environment grows more mysterious. This far out, cosmic rays and traces of interstellar particles begin to mingle with the edges of the solar wind. Sometimes at the observation windows, you catch sight of a faint, glowing curtain rippling in the distance, perhaps a visual manifestation of the heliosphere's boundary, a place where charged particles dance in the magnetic fields. It reminds you of the auroras that used to grace Earth's polar skies, shimmering curtains of green and purple. There's a similar ethereal beauty in knowing that the ship is approaching the very border of the sun's influence, the invisible frontier where your home star's domain gives way to the vast galaxy beyond. Everyone aboard is aware of the next great milestone, leaving the solar system. In hushed conversations over dinner or during late-night walks in the corridors, people talk about it with a mix of anticipation and introspection. What will it feel like, some wonder, to truly drift among the stars, with no sun to call your own? In truth, the sun will still be there, of course. It always will be, part of your history. But when that crossing comes, it will mark the start of a new chapter as citizens of the galaxy at large, not just one solar system. One evening, as you stroll through the quiet ship, you come across a small group in the chapel area, a multi-faith space set aside for reflection and hope. They are holding a gentle candlelight vigil, giving thanks for the journey so far, and praying or meditating for safe passage into the unknown. You pause at the back, not wanting to disturb. The soft flicker of LED candles, real flames would be impractical here, and the soft voices chanting or speaking in unison create an atmosphere of serenity and unity. Whether one is spiritual or not, the meaning is clear. As a community, you are acknowledging the gravity of the step ahead and doing so together, with humility and hope. Soon, it is time to rest again. Back in your quarters, you prepare for sleep, reflecting on the events of the day, the tasks accomplished, the wonders seen, the moments shared. You realize how smoothly extraordinary days, like seeing Saturn, blend into the gentle flow of life aboard. Each day brings something to cherish, whether grand or small, a breathtaking cosmic vista, or a simple kind gesture from a neighbor. Lying in your bed, you gaze out the little window where a few stars peer in, and you think about how far you have come, from that hill on Earth where you watched the last sunset, to this moment now, years into the journey. The thread of your life has woven through so many changes. And yet, here in the stillness of your cabin, with the soft thrum of the ship surrounding you, you feel that same calm determination that carried you off Earth, still holding you gently. You close your eyes, letting the fatigue of the day melt away. The ship continues to sail quietly through the outer solar system, a solitary light moving in a sea of darkness. Within it, hundreds of hearts beat softly in sleep. Hundreds of dreams intermingle in the hush. As you drift towards slumber, you feel the sensation of being rocked not by waves, but by the very fabric of space and time. Safe in this cocoon of metal and hope, you surrender to rest, trusting that tomorrow will come gently, and with it, whatever new wonders the voyage will bring. The day finally comes when the ship reaches the threshold of interstellar space. It has been many years since that last sunset on Earth. In that time, the generation ship has sailed steadily outward, past the orbits of the farthest known planets, and through the icy expanse of the Kuiper Belt, where countless frozen cometary fragments drift in the darkness. There were quiet celebrations when the ship crossed the orbit of Pluto, that little dwarf planet that marks the outer frontier of the classical solar system. Some recalled how New Horizons, a probe from Earth, once sent back images of Pluto's heart-shaped plane, and now here you all are, farther still, carrying Earth's heart with you. Past Pluto's distant path, the sun's light has grown faint, yet it still shines like a guardian beacon behind you. In preparation for leaving the solar system, the crew and passengers plan a special gathering. It is not every day that humanity extends its reach beyond its star's embrace. The event is set to be simple and heartfelt. As the ship's instruments detect the approaching heliopause, the boundary where the sun's solar wind gives way to the true interstellar medium, everyone is invited to the observation dome and surrounding park to commemorate the moment. There is an air of quiet excitement and solemn wonder. People arrive slowly, some carrying small mementos of Earth, a photograph, a beloved book of poems, a vial of sand from an Earth beach kept as a keepsake. Parents bring their children, including those young ones born during the voyage, so that they too can witness this milestone. You stand among the growing circle of travelers beneath the expanse of the observation dome's window. The stars outside are incredibly sharp and clear, without the interference of the inner solar system's dust and glare. The Milky Way's band looks like a luminous river splitting the sky. The sun is visible too, far behind the ship now. You spot it as a particularly brilliant star, one among many, but unmistakably your sun. It no longer dominates the sky as it once did from Earth. Here on the verge of interstellar space, you can cover that bright point with just your thumb held out at arm's length. The realization sends a shiver down your spine. A mix of pride, nostalgia, and a touch of sadness. With a small, wistful smile, you recall how once you couldn't look at the sun without squinting or shielding your eyes, and now it is reduced to a pinpoint jewel in the cosmic tapestry. The captain's gentle voice comes over the ship's communication system, inviting everyone to share in a moment of reflection as the crossing approaches. In the dome, the crowd arranges itself naturally. Some sit on the grass or benches, others remain standing. Many hold hands or link arms. The baby girl, who was the firstborn in space, now a curious toddler, sits perched on her father's shoulders, her wide eyes focused on the stars beyond the glass. Near the front, that elderly teacher you know, the one who told stories under the oak tree, stands quietly with the help of a cane, a younger crew member by her side for support. Her eyes glisten with tears that she makes no effort to hide, tears of joy and amazement at being here for this day, which once was only a distant dream. Soft music begins to play throughout the habitat, a choice made to mark the occasion. It's a piece that many recognize, a gentle orchestral composition, often associated with hope and new beginnings. The melody is calm and stirring all at once, and it fills the dome like a rising dawn. People exchange smiles. Some lean against one another. A few quietly weep with emotion. The ship's final minutes within the solar system tick away. An astronomer from the crew steps forward to speak softly into a microphone, her voice transmitted throughout the gathering. She explains that according to their sensors, in just moments, the ship will cross the heliopause. This means the particles around you will no longer predominantly come from the sun, but from the galaxy beyond. We will truly be in interstellar space, she says warmly, her voice carrying a mix of scientific pride and deep emotion. A ripple of awe passes through those assembled. Even though nothing drastic will change in an obvious way, the stars will look the same. The ship will hum as it always does. The significance of the moment is felt deeply in every heart. You close your eyes briefly, thinking of Earth one more time in these last seconds before the crossing. Perhaps you whisper a quiet goodbye, or a thank you to the sun and the world that gave you life. Perhaps you offer up a hope or prayer for the journey ahead. Around you, others likely do the same in their own way. A collective hush of meditation and intention falls over the crowd. Then, almost imperceptibly, it happens. There is no jolt, no dramatic shift. yet the instruments confirm the transition. The generation ship has left the solar system's protective bubble and sailed into the interstellar ocean. A gentle murmur spreads among the group. Some clap softly, others simply bow their heads or raise them to the stars, letting the significance wash over them. The captain's voice comes through once more, offering congratulations to all. Each person here, she says, is now officially an interstellar traveler. Her words are simple yet profound. She speaks of pride in the achievement, gratitude for everyone's cooperation and spirit, and an encouragement to continue facing the future together with courage and hope. Spontaneously, someone in the crowd begins to sing an old, uplifting song that many know. A song about journeys and coming home. Fittingly, one by one, more voices join in, until the dome is filled with gentle singing. The tune is carried by hundreds of voices, some steady, some trembling with tears, but together it forms a harmonious tribute. The lyrics speak of wandering far under the same sky and carrying one's home in the heart. You sing too, your voice soft but sure, feeling the words resonate deeply. Home is not just a place, it's the people, the purpose, the love that travels with you. In this moment, you realize that while Earth will always be your homeland, this ship and its community have become home as well, a home that moves through starlight. When the song ends, a peaceful silence follows. The vastness of interstellar space lies ahead. In the observation dome, people begin to quietly discuss and marvel at what's to come. The children, in their innocence, seem mostly excited. To them, this is just another part of the adventure, and they are eager to know what new things they might see. One child points out toward the darkness and asks if that's where other stars and planets are. And a nearby crew member kneels to explain kindly that yes, out there lie countless stars, and perhaps many other worlds, waiting for explorers like them, someday. As the gathering gently disperses, you stay behind for a few extra minutes, gazing outward. Without the heliosphere, the cosmic rays are slightly stronger, and the ship's shields adjust to compensate. You see a faint aurora-like shimmer ripple across the dome's protective field as it adapts. The stars themselves appear unchanged to your eyes, yet knowing you are now among them in the truest sense makes them feel different. They seem nearer, more welcoming, as if the boundary that separated you has dissolved. To your surprise, you notice one star in particular that seems to twinkle with a friendly brightness out ahead in the direction of your ship's course. You realize it is not a star at all, but the distant target of your journey, a star around which orbits the planet that your descendants, or perhaps even some of you, will call a new home. It is far too distant to discern with clarity, just a tiny pinprick of light in the endless night. Yet its presence lights a beacon of purpose in your heart. That is the destination the ship is steadily sailing toward across decades and generations. Seeing it with your own eyes, even as a mere speck, makes the dream feel more real than ever. You gently press your palm to the glass, as if reaching out across the void. In your mind, you silently greet that far-off sun, sending it hopeful thoughts of arrival and welcome. One day, you think, we will stand under a new sky and feel the warmth of a new sun on our faces. One day, a sunrise will dawn on a new world for humanity. After the ceremony, life aboard resumes its calm flow, but with a subtle shift in perspective. There is a newfound sense of boldness and unity. You have done it. Together, everyone has taken humanity farther than it has ever gone. The routine tasks continue. Gardens still need tending. Meals still need cooking. Children still need teaching. The familiar comforts and duties remain, grounding everyone in day-to-day normalcy, even as the ship now travels beyond any map's edge. But now conversations carry an extra note of wonder. In the dining hall, you catch snippets of talk, people speculating about what the interstellar medium is like, or sharing hopes for what the new world might be when it's reached. Others talk about how proud their ancestors would be if they could see them now, and there are gentle smiles at that thought. In the evenings, the stars seem just a bit brighter. Without the subtle pressure of the solar wind, the ship glides even more smoothly, as if easing into a new current. The cosmic ocean out here is serene and still. The nearest stars hardly change position from one night to the next, reminding everyone that though you travel fast, space is unimaginably vast. Patience is a way of life now, and that's okay. There is beauty in that slow journey. One night, you join a small group of friends in the observation dome for stargazing. It's become something of a tradition, a weekly gathering to appreciate the cosmos and share thoughts. Lying back on the cool grass, for yes, they've encouraged some grass to grow even up here near the window, in planters that line the dome's perimeter. You look upward at the unobstructed heavens. The Milky Way spills across your vision, dense with stars. Someone points out a constellation and reminisces about how they used to find that same pattern on clear nights back on Earth. Another person wonders softly if perhaps, somewhere out there, other beings are looking back or embarking on journeys of their own. The conversation drifts like the stars themselves, touching on philosophy, dreams, and the incredible fact that all of you are made of stardust, now truly returning to the stars. As the others talk quietly, your attention drifts to the dark space between the stars. It's not empty, you know. It holds mysteries, wisps of ancient nebulae, rogue comets, the gravitational whispers of unseen things. Out here, beyond the solar shores, every direction is a possibility. That realization is both humbling and exhilarating. There is a gentle unknown ahead, one that will unfold bit by bit. Eventually, the group falls silent, each person lost in their own reverie under the starry dome. You feel a deep contentment in this shared silence. The presence of your friends nearby, the faint scent of grass, the distant hum of the ship's systems, and the eternal stars above create a harmony that fills you with peace. In this moment, you think of how far you've come, not just in distance, but in spirit. The worries and fears that might have accompanied you at the start have been softened by time and experience. In their place is a quiet confidence. You and your fellow travelers have learned that you can build a life anywhere, as long as you carry with you understanding, compassion, and wonder. Your eyes grow heavy as you watch a slow drifting meteor, perhaps a grain of dust from some ancient supernova, streak silently across the void overhead. It's a gentle reminder that even in the stillness, the universe is always moving, always changing. Eventually, you bid goodnight to your companions and return to your cabin. As you prepare for sleep, you take one last look through your small window. The sun, the star that was your beginning, is just one pinpoint among countless now, nearly indistinguishable from the others, unless you know exactly where to look. The new star, Your destination glimmers faintly ahead, a promise in the distance. You feel a calm satisfaction that both of these lights, the old and the new, are part of your journey. Lying down, you pull a soft blanket over yourself. The gentle gravity, the mild air circulating, the ever-present quiet vibration of the ship, these constants lull you. You reflect on the name given to this voyage, Starlight Nomads. It feels fitting. You are all wanderers under the starlight, travellers without a fixed land, but not without purpose or direction. Like nomads of old following the seasons, you follow the pull of destiny across light years, carrying your society on your backs like a snail carries its home. Your mind drifts to thoughts of tomorrow and the tomorrows after that. There will be more days of work and learning, more nights of stargazing and dreaming. Perhaps new discoveries await out here, a stray comet to study, an unusual star to marvel at. Perhaps there will be challenges too, but you have faith that this community can meet them with the same steady grace it has shown so far. Whatever comes, you know the journey is worth it. Your eyelids grow heavy, your breathing slows. In the darkness of your cabin, you feel the ship gently cruising forward, an arc of life sailing the cosmic sea. You imagine for a moment that you can hear the stars outside, a faint musical hum of the universe singing you to sleep. It's a comforting fancy, as real as any lullaby of earth in your heart. As you finally slip into restful sleep, the generation ship continues its voyage beyond the solar shores. The vast expanse of the galaxy lies ahead, deep and beckoning, dotted with the light of countless suns. And aboard the ship, hundreds of souls, yourself among them, slumber in peace and hope, dreaming of distant horizons. The story of humanity carries on in each of those dreams, shining quietly against the dark, like starlight on the eternal night. The journey is far from over, but for now, in this gentle moment, all is calm and all is bright in the endless night of space. When the artificial lights begin to shift in intensity, a gentle clarity returns to the ship's halls. Metal walls and fixtures gradually become visible once more. Far down a corridor, a cleft in the hull broadens with a click, revealing an observation bay tinted glass. Through that glass, the interior reflects back at the ship's inhabitants, like a distant galaxy of faces. But in here, in this glowing corridor, the first promise of the day is born from human ingenuity. Slowly, a soft light starts to trace the walls, subtle at first, like moonlight, then growing warmer, bathing the metal in a gentle golden hue. It spreads outward from the central hub, as if the ship itself were waking with the dawn. Wherever crew members stand, they turn their gaze upward or run a hand along the wall to drink in this new light. A few people stir in the berths lining this main hallway. In quiet movements, they slide from their sleep pods with yawns and stretching arms. The ship remains silent, but in every corner, the new brightness coaxing them awake is a kind of gentle alarm. Everyone has a reason to rise. A morning exercise routine, a maintenance check on the reactor, a simple cup of the warm morning tea offered by a supply robot making its rounds. After a while, families form slowly. Parents gather their children, still often in pajamas, and guide them toward the central dome that now shimmers with something like real sunlight. Even the more reserved loners allow a soft smile to creep in as they step forward. Outside, endless darkness reminds them of still being far from home. But here, at least, they share this soft daybreak together. As that light continues to bloom, it finds its way into every corridor and compartment. By the time it reaches the dining hall, the menus are already set for the day. Whole grains, fresh vegetables, a choice of tea or rich coffee. The air is filled with a gentle aroma of brewed chai and warm bread. Some crew members gather here first thing, not out of hunger, but habit, to sip a cup of something hot in the morning hush. They lean against a countertop or rest their arms on a table, savouring this peaceful moment before any duties begin. In this leisurely pause, they greet each other with soft nods and half smiles. There are no demands, just the rising calm of awareness. And amid them, laughter quietly blossoms, perhaps over a joke half remembered from dreams, or the sight of a child spilling a bit of milk. Each chuckle floats and fades like smoke among the sounds of gentle morning. Spoons stirring sugar into tea, a box gently opening as fresh milk is poured, a low whistle over the machine brewing coffee. For a moment, the ship feels as if it is sharing in the happiness of dawn too. On this ship, there is no sunrise in the sky, so they tend to imagine it themselves. Engineers check a panel by the viewports. There is still no real star on the horizon, but with LEDs behind the glass, they simulate one. A circular glare appears at the edge, mimicking the faint beginning of the sun's disk, if an Earth with its day and night had somehow come around. As that circle brightens, the light around the room shifts from the cool whites of pre-dawn to a full, warm glow, echoing midday from wherever they left before. Children squeal at the trick. Some run to the window for a better look. An older scientist watches them quietly, her eyes soft, as if she can almost feel a breeze on her face again from an afternoon long gone on Earth. By mid-morning, the entire ship is fully illuminated, as if sunlight fills it. Workspaces hum softly with purpose. In one corner, a researcher steps through the open hatch of the reactor room, stretching muscles stiff from the night. She flicks on all systems carefully, inhaling the familiar scent of coolant. Here, routine is steady and gentle. Instruments awaken with a reassuring beep. Wires hum quietly to life. A physicist in another bay toggles switches, bringing a particle detector online. These activities happen without hurry. Like a pianist easing into a soft melody, each person does what must be done with mindful calm. The beeps and clicks of their consoles become as soothing as bird calls might have been in Earth's dawn. It's an orchestra of normality, and everyone is both conductor and musician. Down the central corridor, a lunch bell tinkles quietly. It marks midday according to their standard schedule, even though noon is merely a memory. Still, for many, this sound is comforting. Families begin to shuffle toward the mess hall again. From the greenhouse outside, green leaves catch the light. Inside, people carry bowls of soup or plates of vegetables freshly plucked that morning. Each one pauses to check on a colleague. How did the test go? Or, how are you feeling today? The answers come in warm tones. The crew passes dishes slowly, sharing food as people share life. The atmosphere is low and even. They do not speak over each other because they know time and space have no rush here. They laugh softly at a story about life back on Earth, then let silence fall again. Silence not of discomfort, but the ease that follows good company and a full meal. In the ship's gym, the special null gravity room is alive with gentle motion. One astronaut is doing stretches with slow exhalations, enjoying the sensation of muscle fibers uncoiling in weightlessness. Someone else leaps into a purple exercise ball, spinning in circles as training regimen. Nearby, a few drift play with a soft ball tethered on a string, sending it in slow loops as they reach and catch in turn. The scene is almost playful, more like a quiet game than strenuous exercise. From the corner, soft classical music floats out, an old concerto or lullaby pressed into service as encouragement. The players smile as they pass the ball. Victory or score means nothing when the reward is a laugh and some extra oxygen in their lungs. As what would be evening arrives on Earth, the ship simulates a twilight. Top lights dim first to a faint amber, then to a deeper golden glow. Crew members know this is their cue to gather once more. In one lounge area, children lay on cushions with their parents around them, reading storybooks about stars, smiling into each other's eyes. Someone starts humming an old lullaby their mother used to sing. Others quietly queue up a gentle old movie or settle down with the ship's database to learn a star's story. In another compartment, a soft gong sounds. This time part of a meditation session several crew members have arranged. They sit cross-legged, eyes closed, breathing in rhythm with a peaceful melody only they can hear. There are no loud sounds or flashing lights anywhere, only the quiet assurance that another day is drawing to its calm conclusion. When it finally is night, everyone tucks in carefully. Beds on the ship are sleeping bags attached to padded walls, so people drift gently instead of falling. Each crew member lies under a small nightlight that mimics the colours of their favourite sunset on Earth. A parent will often snuggle beside a child, stroking hair and softly whispering, "Good night, the stars are watching." Elsewhere, an engineer double-checks the air recyclers one last time before shutting them to their low nighttime setting. The corridors creak just enough as the metal cools. The life support hums a bit softer. The air itself seems warmer, more still. Everyone's heartbeat and breath slow, aligning with the steady pulse of the ship. In the darkness, each crew member drifts off, warmed by the continuous cycle of human care on board. Through all these routines, the morning stretch, the midday meal, the afternoon rest, the evening gathering, each person remains connected to something larger. Though Earth lies far behind, its rhythms live on here. It is as if every new day on the ship folds into the next, with each night offering the tapestry of stories and the quiet comfort needed to start again. The way the light changed, the way laughter was shared. It is all familiar in a way that feels like home. For now, beneath the gentle hush of space, the ship and its people rest. Tomorrow will come with the same soft certainty, but for this night, they dwell in the soft centre of their own endless voyage. As dawn deepens into something like afternoon, far below, in a place they once called home, that same light, which brought morning, now makes its way into the heart of the ship. Its warm glow spills over a long dining table and moves on to touch other corners. The learning centre, where children study diagrams of planets. The quiet bay, where instruments hum. The bench, where someone sketches the morning's experiments. In every one of these little spaces, a few hands reach out to feel the gentle light, an energy born not of a sun, but of the vessel's own cycles. Slowly, all the dark corners of this grand metal ship are bright again. And it is in this softly lit world that the day truly begins for everyone aboard. Beyond these green walls, in the perfect stillness of space, rhythms of life continue on. As the corridors narrow and give way to space filled with light, the temperature shifts subtly, warm and humid. We have arrived at the ship's green heart, the hydroponic gardens suspended at the centre of the vessel. Here, under a canopy of artificial sky, gentle water cascades through the roots of plants, wrapped in glossy green leaves. Everywhere is the scent of earth and the distant tang of citrus blossoms. A low mist clings to a flight of delicate ferns, and the soft drip of water is heard in the background. Crew members move carefully among the rows of flora, hands brushing over leaves to check their health. In this quiet sanctuary, voices are softer, steps slower. Some pause to trace the veins of a leaf with a finger, as if listening to its silent story. A botanist in a white coat smiles when a tomato vine curls around her arm. She picks a bright red fruit and holds it momentarily against the warm light. The fruit is perfectly ripe, its aroma rich and familiar. She takes a small bite and closes her eyes, savouring the taste. A little sunshine captured in a distant vessel. Around her, colleagues carry baskets waiting to be filled, each thankful that here at the journey's heart, life grows so freely. The greenhouse is divided into sections, one area dedicated to food crops like lettuce, tomatoes, and sweet potatoes, another corner for fragrant herbs and medicinal plants arranged in neat trays. Even a small citrus tree, once but a cutting given to them, now bears little oranges that glow in the gentle light. Each plant has a purpose. Some supply vitamins and flavour to the crew's meals, others freshen the air they breathe. But here among the stems and stalks, there is something more at work, a reassurance that life endures. It doesn't matter that the ground they came from is light years away. The simple green companionship of this place heals hearts that look up at a sky with no sun, reminding all that even here, hope can sprout from a seed. Light in the greenhouse is soothing and constant. Panels overhead cast a golden white glow, simulating midday sun around the clock. A quiet day can feel like an endless afternoon in here. The plants bask year-round, and occasional breezes are released through hidden vents, so the leaves can sway gently as if under an earth sky. The air circulates softly, filled with oxygen and the promise of dew that never actually falls. Crew members come here to think, to plan, even to dream. Some sit for a while on a bench surrounded by ivies, finishing the last warm sip of an herbal tea brewed from their own mint. The tension of life outside seems to melt away among these vines. Children grow up with this garden as their first playground. A toddler giggles while ducking under the cornstalks that stand tall above him. His mother kneels nearby with a tray of seedlings, showing him how to plant a tiny flower bulb in water, the roots slowly spreading like silver threads. These are not textbook experiments on Earth. They are childhood adventures in space. The boy's laughter mixes with the low hum of life support, a reminder that even on an endless voyage, innocence flourishes. Soon he toddles toward a vine hanging low, reaching up to pat one of its leaves as if greeting an old friend. As dusk would fall on Earth, the greenhouse remains softly lit, time having little meaning here. A couple of crew members sit on a bench under a leafy arch, sharing tea brewed from the garden's own herbs. One lifts his cup to his lips, and a tiny drop escapes, falling onto a moss mat below. The green carpet welcomes it gratefully. He smiles, savouring not only the sweet taste, but the moment itself, for the warmth, for the taste of home, for this fragile oasis in the void. Here in this living chamber, the lines between outside and inside blur. Through a circular viewport, thick vines frame the stars beyond, as if the garden were set against an eternal night sky. Though metal walls and systems surround them, for a few hours this place is as free and wild as any glade on Earth. Each leaf and bud is proof of endurance, reminders of why the voyage continues. Many of the plants came from Earth as tiny packages. One crew member softly remembers receiving a small seed packet from his grandmother. It contained wildflower seeds from a meadow he once loved. Now he gently presses a single seed into the soil, honoring that memory. An elder teacher aboard often says that with every seed they plant, a piece of Earth's past is reborn in space. By sharing these origins with the community, the crew keeps their culture alive among the vines. Celebrations in this floating world often happen here, among the greenery. Instead of cutting cakes, they plant seeds. On birthdays, someone ties a ribbon around a new sapling and makes a wish for its growth. When a young girl loses her first tooth, she carefully places it in a pot of basil as an offering for good luck. These small rituals might seem mundane, but they weave Earth's magic into this new home. Under this artificial sky, such gestures feel almost sacred, a whispered promise that life will continue in many forms, no matter where they are. In the quiet of evening, the time seems to stand still. A soft, warm haze filters through hanging vines, and a delicate floral melody of night blossoms drifts faintly through the air. Little mechanical drones, tiny pollinators, flit lazily from flower to flower. They have wings like dragonflies and glow dimly. Each carries pollen as it dances among blossoms. This gentle hum of their wings feels like an affirmation of harmony. Technology and nature working as one, so that under alien skies these plants may bloom. Every corner of this green haven has its caretakers. One scientist checks nutrient levels in a series of ferns, marveling at how they have doubled in size since the voyage began. Another crew member records the blossoming of a rare orchid, amazed that its crimson petals, velvet soft to the eye, can open under a star-sung sky. All around, hands that missed soil on earth lovingly tend this garden. To them, each touch is a quiet prayer for growth. At midday, the garden's gentle hum is occasionally broken by quiet laughter. A group of engineers sits cross-legged on the padded floor among the roots of a banana tree, listening to an old Earth story about a great forest. They pass around a ripe banana, admiring how golden it looks in the light. One of them peels it, and each takes a tender bite. In this moment, it is as though they have returned to a familiar campsite beneath trees. The ship's walls fade away. They share tales of forests they once knew, giant oak trees in autumn, songs of birds at dawn. And in each wistful smile, there is gratitude for life in this tiny forest of stars. On one wall of the greenhouse, a mosaic of framed photographs reminds everyone of the heritage they carry. There are pictures of farmers on Earth planting crops, of school children watering their first plants, of ancestors proudly holding up their harvests. Crew members sometimes come here to lay a hand on the glass, feeling the connection to those past lives. They speak softly to the plants as they water them, murmuring names of cities and mountains from home. In doing so, they plant their own stories alongside these living ambassadors, blending heritage with hope. Even as nighttime deepens elsewhere, the garden stays softly alive. Gentle nightlights come up in the ceiling, bathing the leaves in a bluish glow, as if moonlight were filtering in. In these hours, the greenhouse turns magical. Shadows shift slowly across petals, and if one listens closely, the leaves seem to rustle back, as if saying goodnight. It is under this gentle watch that the day's last harvest is collected into baskets. Each crew member handles the produce with a reverent smile, as though cradling the very essence of home. With the harvest complete, They step back out of the greenhouse's warmth. The corridor air feels cooler against their skin, but the soft comfort of the garden travels with them. In that simple exit, each person carries a small but vital part of this world, a leafy bundle of greens, an armful of herbs that will sustain them for the hours ahead. They are mindful now that somewhere deep within this ship, a garden thrives and breathes, quietly keeping them alive among the stars. Even after dinner, the greenhouse is visited by a few who linger under its glow. A botanist drifts back in to check on a tall tomato vine one more time, softly humming an earth tune. She notices a tiny green fruit swaying and imagines it as a distant star she once wished upon. Nearby, a gentle mist begins its night cycle, fine droplets settling on the leaves like dew. Under a cooler lamp simulating moonlight, another crew member inhales the scent of a night-blooming jasmine, its white flower unfurling. The aroma is sweet and calming. She closes her eyes, transported for a moment to summer nights on Earth. The plants themselves follow subtle rhythms. Sunflower heads tilt toward the remaining warmth, as if seeking a last kiss. Ferns curl in on themselves as if tucking into bed. Even the pumps slow their steady rhythm to a gentle lull. At last, a quiet click sounds as the greenhouse door slides shut. Inside, life support softly circulates air and water through the roots for the dark hours, though the rest of the ship holds its breath in silence. This living chamber does not sleep so easily. It carries on, each leaf and petal participating in the endless cycle of life among the stars. After tending to the garden's embrace, the crew emerges to find the ship in full rhythm. Doors slide open automatically for them, gentle breezes of recycled air escorting their steps. In these corridors, every hour has its quiet purpose. The ship's schedule is a gentle heartbeat that guides them. Times to rest, times to work, times to come together in communal space. They move with that rhythm as naturally as one would drift through ocean tides, each action measured and mindful of the human symphony they are part of. In the science labs, one researcher stands before a translucent control panel. She adjusts a cycle of nutrient flow for the plants, attuned to the ones she nurtured at dawn. Nearby, a physicist gazes out a viewport while calibrating a telescope aimed at a distant nebula. The stillness of space beyond does not hurry their work. It grounds them instead. This is their normal day: experiments, maintenance checks, creative pursuits. There are no alarms sounding here, only the soft certainty of routine that allows each person to breathe easily. Down the hall, a quiet lunch bell sounds, a reminder that it is time to eat and commune once more. Families and co-workers assemble in the mess hall. Plates are passed and conversations begin, not with the clatter of a busy city, but with gentle voices that ebb and flow. The meal often includes the vegetables grown in the greenhouse, hearty soup and fresh bread from ovens, perhaps a final piece of fruit from a distant storage locker. People smile as they share gratitude for each bite. This time together is an unhurried conversation of friendship and care. Afterward, the afternoon continues with its duties. Some crew head off to maintenance tasks or ongoing experiments. Others take advantage of the ship's resource library or workshop. For example, a geologist studies a chunk of asteroid stone pulled from storage, mapping its composition by tablet. A cook in the kitchen experiments with a new spice blend, taking care to document each measure. Through it all, there is an undercurrent of creativity. At every table or station, Someone might jot down ideas or sketch a circuit layout. Meanwhile, one researcher quietly opens a voluminous logbook to add a personal note, despite the meticulous digital records already kept. She writes in careful script. Day 742. We harvested crimson peppers this morning. They tasted of sun and life. At noon, Marina showed me a sketch she drew of the old citrus orchard back home. Evening passed in quiet reflection. We are all grateful for another safe sunrise aboard. Such journaling is more ritual than necessity, a moment taken not for duty, but for memory. After the meal and paperwork, a group of children drifting by the dining area heads off to their afternoon classes. In the Learning Centre, lessons cover mathematics, history, and even the lore of constellations. A teacher projects images of Earth's landscapes, of animals and ancient explorers, onto a drifting screen. When the kids glance out the window, the inky blackness dotted with stars becomes part of their lesson. Tonight, for example, a teacher points out the constellation Orion above and tells how Earth's ancestors imagined a great hunter there. The children follow, half imagining they see Orion's belt in the starfield right outside. Education here links their tiny world to the big one beyond. Throughout the afternoon, the ship becomes a space for gentle creativity and connection. In a corner lounge, one crew member quietly strums an acoustic guitar, letting soft chords drift through the room like a lullaby. Another sits nearby, sketching the curved horizon of a gas giant on paper by flashlight. A small group gathers around a table with a magnetic board game. Pieces move slowly from hand to hand as they take turns. They play in silence or with only whispering commentary, each move a calm ritual. The peaceful quiet of these pastimes echoes the unhurried rhythm that defines life aboard. Later in the day, many pause for a light break. An aroma of fresh tea and herbs spreads through the lounge. A parent shares a pot of mint tea brewed from yesterday's harvest. Warm mugs pass from hand to hand. They speak softly about the upcoming day, or share a funny memory from that morning. Laughter arises as a pleasant ripple across the table. Around them, the ambient lights are steadily dimming, but here, a small cluster of friends keeps them glowing a little longer as they savour these final moments of daylight. Dinner time arrives with no fanfare other than our own unwinding. Plates of steaming stew, bread, and roasted vegetables appear. It's a simple meal, but the produce comes from their own gardens, and every bite tastes of pride and home. The crew gathers again, some in the lounge near the flowers and vines as sunlight fades, others around the central table. They pass bowls of the stew around, letting everyone serve themselves. The mechanical hum of the ship dims down as if to listen to their stories. They talk quietly about how the day went, about the children's plans for play, even about a joke from an Earth comedy program one of them found in the archives. Each voice rises and falls gently. No one interrupts because no one is in a hurry to finish. After dinner, the routine continues in its calm flow. Some tidy the kitchen, loading dishes into silent cleaners as someone else sweeps with a gentle robotic broom. Others might tuck a child into a bed-shaped sleeping bag in their cabin, whispering a last goodnight. In one area, a small prayer or meditation session takes place under the soft starlights. A row of crew sit with eyes closed, sharing peaceful breathing for a few minutes. In every action, placing a dish on a counter, unrolling a map for tomorrow's route, even quietly closing a cabinet, there is a mindfulness born of this steady life. As evening reaches its deepest hush, the ship begins its slow nighttime transition. Overhead panels gradually shift to soft purples and blues. It is a signal. Time to wind down. The clatter of equipment and voices fades into a murmur. Even the ventilation slows to a whisper. The metal around them seems to exhale. Crew members feel a gentle tiredness, welcoming this change of pace. In the silence, their hearts and minds have space to rest before sleep. The liturgies of day have brought them here, to night's peaceful interlude. In the calm of late night, the corridors are nearly empty. The hum of life support cycles on in the background, but it is soft. The nurse on duty might do one last sweep of cabin doors, smiling at the sleeping families she greets with a nod. Someone in the medbay quietly checks heart rate monitors, ensuring even breaths continue. The navigation console on deck remains on, showing stars drifting overhead, but the officers are gone. They too have retired for the night. Up here, in the sleeping quarters or hammocks, each member of the crew is already floating between wakefulness and dreams. Through weeks and months, these patterns will repeat. Every cycle of activity and rest gives them strength. They grow as attuned to the ship's rhythms as they once were to the sunrise on Earth. Solitude and togetherness alternate like gentle waves on a calm lake. Work followed by laughter, writing followed by silence, all follow one another in perfect order. The predictability of life in space, the steady cadence of tasks and quiet, is itself a gift. It means that even if something unexpected comes, they know how to pause, how to breathe, how to return to balance. It is as though the cosmos itself is softly nodding them through each phase of this voyage. Time itself becomes measured in these cycles. Lunar and solar have meaning only in memory. Instead, a calendar is born of rotations and rotations. Each spin of the vessel feels as natural as an old lullaby. Anniversaries of launch, of first harvests, of long ago farewells on Earth. Each is quietly honoured. Perhaps a candle is lit in the lounge to mark one more orbit completed, made from recycled wax. The steady drum of life aboard this vessel becomes the only time they know, replacing dawns and dusks lost in space. At last, as one cycle closes, the ship's communal lounge settles into a gentle hush. Here, under the vast projection of stars on the ceiling, a senior crew member often rises to share an old legend. Tonight, it is her turn. She begins softly, voice low, yet carrying comfort. A tale of Earth from long before, of rivers and forests far behind them. Others listen, faces illuminated by the dim light. For a moment, nothing else exists but the story and the stars above. An unbroken chain connecting who they were to who they are becoming. And as the last echoes of her voice fade, the gathered crew carry that story with them into the night, ready for the new tales the stars may inspire. Under the dim glow of the ship's nightlights, families gather once more in the common lounge. Pillows and blankets are brought out, and a soft star map is projected above them. The atmosphere is hushed and expectant, as if the ceiling itself has become an endless night sky. Children lie on their backs, eyes wide, staring up at the constellations mapped on the panel. Adults settle around them, forming a protective circle. For a few minutes they are all weightless in wonder, as if drifting on a cloud of quiet magic. Above, the projected stars flicker gently, mimicking the real cosmos. Even the ship's ambient lights fade further, leaving only those pale pinpricks of projected stars. The hush is almost sacred, as though the voyage itself pauses to listen. One older crew member begins the night's tales. She speaks in a gentle voice, telling the legend of the Mother and the Moon from an ancient culture on Earth. In her words, a woman climbs to the heavens to calm the restless moon, weaving patterns of light with her laughter. As she narrates, children watch the projected stars and try to trace the story in the flickering constellations. The listeners lean in whenever her voice rises at an exciting turn and melt back into serenity when it softens. Each sentence is like a lullaby, wrapping the group in comfort. Occasionally, a younger child snuggles deeper into a parent's shoulder, lulled by the rhythm. Outside the ship, the real sky is full of distant galaxies, but inside, all is still, except for her voice. This story builds a little safe world for them, a gentle reminder of home under alien skies. Nearby, a father whispers to his son the tale of two star voyagers from Earth. In this story, a brother and sister once flew away in hot air balloons, each carrying a lantern to light their path. They had always gazed at the night sky from Earth, dreaming of adventure. So on a clear evening, they tied seeds from their garden to their baskets and let their lanterns guide them upward. They drifted among the planets, planting seeds of hope on every world they passed. A sunflower by an alien stream, an orange tree on a barren plain. By morning, their balloons had sailed through the Milky Way, and below the girl could see tiny green patches glowing on countless orbs. The boy closes his eyes, imagining the siblings sailing through the stars. In his mind, every twinkle becomes one of those lanterns, winking down at him from far away. The soft cadence of his father's voice carries him gently towards sleep, and he smiles to himself at the promise that the voyagers will one day guide these seeds to bloom under distant suns. A young engineer, quiet after a long day of tasks, adds her own creation to the night's tapestry. She describes a mythical garden in the sky, inspired by the one they walked through today. In her tale, this celestial garden has floating rivers of light and trees that sing when brushed by a breeze. Lantern flowers bloom only at night. Their petals glow with a soft blue fire. It is tended by ancient spirits of Earth who themselves travelled beyond the stars to plant it. The room grows silent around her, save for the hum of the ship's systems. When she finishes, even the adults feel as if they have walked through that dream too. She smiles softly, pleased that the garden in her words lives on in their minds as they tuck another piece of Earth lore into their sleep. At intervals, one of the older children pipes up and asks, pointing at a bright dot on the ceiling, "What does that star shine for?" A historian on board smiles and answers softly, "That one is for the bravest sailors who chart new paths. It burns bright, so they never feel lost." From that thread, another tale unfolds, this time about explorers who once navigated by stars across vast oceans. The historian's voice weaves the next legend into the night, and soon another old crew member quietly begins to hum the old navigation chant her own ancestors used. Their voices ripple through the lounge, humming and sharing, creating a gentle lullaby of humanity's wanderlust. By the end of this story, a soft excitement has settled over the group. Even the little child tugs again at his father's sleeve, understanding now that beneath every sky, on any sea, those stars have always been their guides. A lull descends as most children's eyes grow heavy. The projector dims slightly, mimicking moonrise, and some tuck the little ones under their arms. One by one, blankies are pulled up to chins, and soft breathing replaces the questions and whispers. The adults remain, quietly retelling their favorite Earth legends to each other in hushed tones. Perhaps a story of a mountain that walked to meet the sea, or a farmer who talked to the stars. Each narrative is as varied as the cultures they came from. But here under this ship's artificial sky, they all find common meaning. In this gentle silence, each storyteller listens as much as they speak, and even these quiet exchanges become part of the night's slow rhythm. Above them, the ceiling holds the reflected glow of galaxies. Below them, the ship hums a soft lullaby. Together, through myth and memory, they weave another thread of wonder to carry each soul into the night. Through a hatch at the back of the lounge, the faint light of real stars can be glimpsed. Occasionally, a crew member steps outside, cradling a sleeping child in their arms, to gaze up under the greenhouse porch. There, under a shielded clear dome, the true Milky Way streaks the night sky with silver. The family pauses to watch for a heartbeat, breathing in the cool, filtered air. A meteor briefly trails above, causing them to gasp and smile in the dim light. Each falling star becomes part of their tale, the hushed wonder of the universe visible as a moving spark. A parent hums a lullaby from childhood, and the child presses sleepily closer, feeling the gentle watch of the cosmos on them. It is a quiet vigil, a private ending to the day. Out there, beyond the ship, the universe holds stories older than all of them, and tonight they are sharing in them. As the night deepens, the stories begin to wind down. Even the projected constellations shift slowly to show it is late. One storyteller closes her book with a whisper. "And tomorrow, we will sail on," she says. Not as a command, but as a gentle reminder of the journey that still lies ahead. The listeners murmur in agreement, though they drift in and out of sleep, puzzling at the phrasing. Perhaps the words are meant for their dreams. In the hush that follows, a sense of quiet wonder drifts through the room, soft as cosmic dust. Outside the lounge, the ship's systems continue their steady heartbeat, but inside, all movement has stilled. Eyes are heavy, breaths even. Only the memory of tales and stars remains. By this time, each heart is a quiet repository of wonder. The crew disperses to their cabins with minds heavy with images of myth and memory. The children carry new dreams of moon mothers and star voyagers. The adults carry the wisdom of earthbound legends whispered beneath artificial constellations. Above them, beyond the ship's hull, the silent cosmos watches on. Each flicker of distant starlight is a reminder that their stories are part of something vast. The night is far from over. In fact, for the stars it has just begun. And still, the voyage continues onward, gently leading them to the next dawn yet to come. In the endless night between the stars, the ship drifts in profound quiet. After the last echoes of recent trials fade away, only silence remains. No roar of engines disturbs this hush. Those engines now lie dormant as the vessel coasts, conserving energy on its long glide through interstellar space. Outside, the void is soundless. Space, being a near-perfect vacuum, carries no voice and no cry. There is no atmosphere here to transmit a shout or a scream, no wind to whistle through unseen trees. The cosmos beyond the hull is still and mute, a silent ocean of darkness sprinkled with distant lights. Within the spacecraft's metal skin, life persists in gentle restraint. This vessel is their Ark, a fusion-powered ship composed of cylindrical modules connected in a spine, with a wheel-like habitat ring that slowly rotates to simulate gravity for daily life. Its interior is divided into sectors: engineering bays, living quarters, hydroponic gardens, each one compact and utilitarian. Though far smaller than any city or country on Earth, the ship contains everything needed to sustain its population. Life persists in gentle restraint. The crew move through softly lit corridors and chambers with hushed steps. Mechanical systems hum at the edge of hearing, a low, constant murmur that seems loud only because the emptiness outside is so complete. In these artificial halls, the only storms are the occasional stirrings of recycled air, a faint sigh from a ventilation grate. Every sound the travellers make feels magnified against the backdrop of quiet, so they speak in soft voices, as if in a great library or a sacred hall. A dropped tool's clang reverberates briefly, then fades, swallowed by padded walls and vast emptiness beyond. Time in this silence becomes fluid. Days and nights are maintained by consensus. The ship's clocks simulate a cycle of light and dark to mark the passing hours. But without a rising or setting sun, it is only routine that differentiates one day from the next. The crew follow these rhythms diligently, knowing structure guards against drifting aimlessly through endless time. Each morning they wake to gentle lights brightening the habitats. Each night, those lights dim to an artificial dusk. And in the stretches of quiet between, they work, they rest, they remember. Memory fills the silence when sound does not. Some of the older voyagers recall the natural sounds of Earth: a breeze stirring leaves, rain tapping on a roof, ocean waves collapsing on a shore. They hold those memories close and sometimes share them aloud, describing to younger shipborne generations what it was like to hear birdsong at dawn or thunder rolling across a summer sky. In the ship's gardens, they try to recreate a hint of those lost sounds: the rustle of leaves from hydroponic vines, the trickle of recycled water flowing through a small fountain. These faint echoes of nature are comforting, yet they only underscore how profoundly silent the void outside remains. For the children born out here, silence is simply the canvas of life. They have never heard the bustle of a busy city or the chorus of frogs on a warm night. Instead, they have grown up with different lullabies: the soft whir of air scrubbers, the gentle thrum of pumps moving water and air. To them, these sounds are the normal whispers of home. When they ask about Earth's noises, their elders smile wistfully and explain as best they can, sometimes playing old recordings of wind or rain or animals. In a small gathering space, a teacher might hold up a seashell brought from Earth generations ago, letting a child listen to the faint echo within, an imaginary ocean captured in a conch. Such moments connect the past to the present, filling the quiet with meaning. Between the stars, even communications fall silent. Long ago, when the journey first began, there were still voices from Earth, fading radio messages wishing them well, scientific updates, even the distant comfort of music transmitted across the void. But as the ship ventured farther, those transmissions grew sparse and delayed. Years would pass between a question and its answer. Eventually, the distance became so great that no new messages arrived at all. Now the receivers hiss only with cosmic static. The crew still occasionally aim their antennae homeward, listening hopefully, but they hear nothing definitive, perhaps just the faint background whispers of the galaxy. It is a lonely feeling, knowing that the once bright link to humanity's cradle has dimmed to nothing. Yet in that loneliness, they find resilience. They carry the legacy of Earth inside them, in their archives and in their hearts, and so they are never truly alone. Often, the silence brings with it a heightened awareness of existence. Crew members find themselves attuned to their own breathing, the rhythmic beat of their hearts. Some say they can almost hear the snowflake-like patter of their eyelids closing when they lie in the dark. In the weightless observation bubble, one of the few places where artificial gravity is absent by design, a lone observer floats with the stars all around. In that chamber, they sometimes turn off even the fans for a short while. In the resulting stillness, they press their ear to the ship's hull, listening. There is no sound from the outside, only the throbbing of their own pulse, conducted through their body. It is a meditation on solitude. One human, one speck of life, listening for a voice from the infinite, and hearing only the internal echo of themselves. Even the darkness behind their closed eyes sometimes comes alive with phantom light. In the still of night, a crew member drifting to sleep may suddenly perceive a tiny flash, an implausible spark in the void of their vision. They have learned this is no hallucination, but a cosmic ray passing through the retina, triggering the eye's cells to fire and creating a momentary illusion of light. In a way, the universe manages to whisper to them through these subtle, silent fireworks. Such flickers are rare and fleeting, but when one appears, it's as if a star has winked directly inside their mind, a gentle reminder that even in absolute quiet, they are immersed in a sea of invisible energy. Yet the void's silence is not cruel, it is simply indifferent. The universe goes about its business quietly. Stars burn, planets spin, all in silence from the perspective of human ears. This quiet can be eerie, but also peaceful. In the absence of external noise, the crew have learned to find harmony in other ways. They fill their days with purposeful tasks and gentle conversation. In the evenings, someone might strum a well-worn guitar brought aboard decades ago, each note softly dancing through the common room. Others gather to listen, their voices joining in an old folk song or a lullaby. Music, created by human hands and hearts, becomes a treasured gift in this silent sea. Every chord is rich, every lyric poignant, because it breaks the emptiness and affirms that life still sings among the stars. Sometimes the travelers embrace the silence deliberately. After a day of work, a crew member might seek a solitary corner, perhaps by a small viewport, and simply sit in quiet contemplation. They watch the unchanging stars outside, those distant suns that do not twinkle out here without an atmosphere to make them waver. A billion pinpoints of steady light surround them on all sides, each one a reminder of the vastness and mystery that envelops them. In these moments, individuals often confront their deepest thoughts. Hopes and doubts, dreams and memories, all drift through the mind like constellations on an inner sky. The silence becomes a mirror for the soul, reflecting fears, but also revealing inner strengths. One young voyager, writing in her journal, notes that in the silence she can almost hear the voices of her ancestors encouraging her onward. She imagines the collective yearning of humanity propelling this ship forward, and finds comfort knowing she is part of something far greater than herself. The mysterious quiet of deep space also brings the crew closer to the cosmic sublime. Free from the noise of civilization, they can observe phenomena that would be drowned out on a bustling world. Sometimes, during scheduled night periods, they dim all interior lights and peer outward together. They watch distant galaxies as faint smudges and marvel that those ancient lights have traveled millions of years silently to reach their eyes. They monitor the gentle glow of nebulae through telescopic sensors, converting electromagnetic vibrations into soft sounds for a unique experience, a practice they call listening to the stars. By amplifying radio emissions or solar wind data and translating them into audio frequencies, they hear a faint crackle or melodic hum that represents the activity of distant pulsars or the song of the sun-like star they once orbited. These sounds are not audible in space itself, but technology gives them a way to sense the music of the cosmos hidden in the silence. It is like hearing the heartbeat of the universe, subtle, rhythmic, and deeply reassuring. Such exercises remind them that even in apparent silence, creation has its rhythms. As the ship sails further, the distances between everything grow more immense. The stars ahead no longer resemble familiar constellations. Old patterns have distorted slowly over the years, turning into unrecognizable arrangements as the vessel moves light years away from Earth's vantage point. Occasionally, a crew member will project a star map of the sky as seen from Earth ages ago, aligning it with the current view. The comparison speaks volumes. Their perspective has shifted so much that home's constellations are a foreign sky now. This realization settles on them quietly. It emphasizes how far they have come and how the only constant now is the ship and each other. The silence in these reflective moments is filled with a mix of pride and melancholy. Pride in how long and far humanity's reach has extended, and melancholy for the growing gap between them and the world of their origin. Yet they carry on, generation after generation, in this quiet odyssey. The spaceship is their enclosed universe. Each generation inherits the silence and the promise it holds. Parents teach their children not to fear the quiet, but to use it, to listen to their own thoughts, to be mindful of their companions, to observe the subtleties of their environment. With no external distractions, the senses are sharpened inward. Friendships deepen as people truly listen to one another without the cacophony of a crowded world. In a sense, the silence has become an unexpected ally. It focuses the voyager's attention on what truly matters, maintaining their vessel, nurturing their fragile community, and pursuing the dream that set them on this voyage long ago. In the great hush of space, every small sound and gesture gains significance. A laugh in the dark feels like a burst of light. A whispered encouragement from a friend echoes in the heart long after it's spoken. A single newborn's cry, rare but celebrated when a new life comes aboard, can bring tears of joy to many eyes, for it is the sound of continuation, proof that humanity's song goes on even here. These are the moments when the crew knows that silence is not emptiness. It is the canvas on which they paint the meaning of their existence. And so the long silence of space is both their challenge and their companion. It tests them with isolation, but it also grants them space to heal and reflect. It is a deep breath before the next steps. As they move ever onward, the silence stretches out ahead, a patient, star-filled expanse that will at times be broken, but will always return. Little do they know, the very stillness they have grown accustomed to is about to be interrupted. Far ahead, imperceptible at first, there is a stirring, a hint that space, though silent, harbours its own tempests. One day, without warning, the calm will give way to cosmic fury. For now, the travellers drift in peace, together in the sanctuary of quiet, under the eternal night. It begins as a subtle tremor in the endless night. One moment the ship is gliding smoothly. The next, there is a faint shudder that runs through its spine. Most of the crew are at their posts or in their quarters, engaged in routine tasks when the gentle vibration is felt. In the command center, a few heads lift in unison from their screens. A navigator furrows his brow at the readings. A sudden uptick in high-energy particles, a ripple in the ship's magnetic field. It is as if the vacuum ahead has become just a little less empty, the silence a little less still. The disturbance is almost imperceptible at first. A slight static hisses in the communication lines. A monitor blinks with a brief glitch, then stabilizes. In the hydroponics bay, a hanging tool sways ever so slightly as something unseen nudges the colossal vessel. An engineer places her hand on a bulkhead and feels a faint, rapid tapping, a telltale vibration from outside. It is not imagination. The ship's exterior is beginning to be peppered with tiny bits of cosmic debris. In the silence of space, there is no audible sound of collision, but the crew senses the impacts as minute tremors and sees them as brief spikes on their instruments. Within minutes, the faint tap-tap on the hull grows into a constant patter. Microscopic grains of dust, normally spread thin across light years, have gathered here in an interstellar cloud the ship must now traverse. The forward shields take the brunt. Layers of hardened composite and electromagnetic deflectors flash with tiny sparks as dust particles vaporize upon contact. On the bridge, the crew watches sensor displays lighting up with countless pinpricks, each marking a particle detected and destroyed, or occasionally a particle that finds its way through. The vessel is moving at an incredible velocity, and even a mote the size of a sand grain carries devastating energy at such speeds. One grain alone, striking at a fraction of light speed, can hit with the force of an artillery shell, puncturing metal as if it were paper. So the crew knows that what starts as a gentle shower of dust could quickly become a lethal storm. Alarms begin to chime softly through the corridors, a calm yet urgent tone. The ship's automated systems have detected the increasing hazard and respond in practice sequence. "All personnel, initiate storm protocol," comes the measured voice of the operations officer over the intercom. There is no panic in her tone, only the firmness of long training. Throughout the ship, lights shift to a dim amber, signaling caution. In living quarters, a father scoops up his curious young son, and together they move swiftly towards a safer section at the core of the vessel. In the science lab, researchers secure delicate instruments and close protective covers over experiment stations. Everyone has drilled for this scenario. Everyone knows their role. Deep in the heart of the ship, near the rotating drum that houses their main living area, lies the storm shelter. It is a chamber encircled by tanks of water and supplies, materials that double as radiation shielding. As the dust barrage intensifies, crew members filter into the shelter or into other protected zones, strapping in for safety. They are far from any planet or rescue. Their only option is to ride out whatever space throws at them. For a time, the rain of micrometeoroids continues unabated. The crew listen to the faint indications of it through the structure. Occasionally, those in the shelter feel a dull thud reverberate through the hull, larger fragments hitting and being shattered by the outer defences. Each time this happens, a few people exchange tense glances. They know that beyond their walls, kinetic energies are being unleashed that rival the might of earthly weapons. The ship quivers with each heavier strike, but holds firm. The shields glow faintly as they dissipate energy. Behind reinforced viewports, cameras capture fleeting bursts of light as particles are annihilated in flashes of plasma. It is a silent fireworks show outside, beautiful in a way, yet ominous, like distant lightning with no thunder. Inside, the crew remains steady and coordinated. Engineers watch pressure gauges and hull integrity monitors. A slight drop in pressure in one sector prompts a quick response. An airtight bulkhead seals off a storage compartment on Deck 12. A micrometeoroid has punched a pinhole through the outer wall there, and a tiny jet of air was beginning to escape. Almost instantly, automated systems deploy a patch, a foam that hardens on contact with vacuum, plugging the leak. Crisis averted, for now. The incident is logged calmly by the officer on duty. They all know that in conditions like this, the difference between a minor scare and a disaster is often a matter of centimeters and seconds. Not all dangers are physical impacts. Some are invisible. Along with the hail of dust, a surge of charged particles sweeps through the region the ship occupies. Galactic cosmic rays, normally a background whisper, now roar like an unseen gale. The crew's radiation counters tick upward. In the shelter, a medic checks readings on a dosimeter and quietly notes the exposure levels. The numbers are higher than any routine day, but still within what their protocols allow for short periods. The real threat would be a sudden solar eruption or gamma-ray burst, but this storm carries no deadly flash of radiation, only a steady increase that their shielding and sheltering mitigate. Still, everyone will be relieved to see the levels fall again. On the bridge, the effects of these charged particles become evident in other ways. One by one, some electronic systems begin to hiccup. A navigation console reboots itself with a frustrated chirp as high-energy particles flip bits in its circuitry. A few decks below, the ship's telescope array temporarily goes offline, its sensors overwhelmed by the charged haze outside. The communications panel experiences static, a crackling that would be the sound of the storm if space could carry sound at all. The crew expected this. Their systems are built with redundancies. Critical controls are hardened against radiation and have backups waiting in standby. A flight controller switches the navigation feed to a secondary computer without missing a beat. In the dim, amber light, crew members exchange nods, acknowledging each anomaly coolly as it comes and resolving it in turn. They know that cosmic rays can play tricks on their technology, causing glitches and phantom errors, but human vigilance and resilient design together keep the ship on course. Through the thick of it, the crew maintains communication with each other via short-range intercom. At one point, the ship shudders with a heavier impact than before, and the lights flicker. In the shelter, a young technician sucks in her breath. Immediately, the calm voice of the captain comes through the speaker. All decks, report status. One after another, replies come. Engineering, nominal. Life support, all green. Navigation is holding steady. Reassuring words in a stressful time. The technician closes her eyes and takes a deep breath, steadying herself as she has been trained to do. They ride the storm for hours. It's impossible to tell how large this cloud of debris is, or if a worse pocket lies ahead. But gradually, the sensor alarms stop escalating. After a time, the patter of tiny impacts begins to wane. The constant jitter that the crew felt in their bones starts to ease. Like a rainstorm moving on, the space around them clears of dust. One final bang echoes through the hull, a last sizable fragment meeting its end against the shield. Then silence slowly stretches back in. The ship's systems that had been flashing warnings fall quiet, one by one, as readings return to normal ranges. Eventually, the all-clear signal is given. From the storm shelter, people emerge cautiously, stepping back out into the corridors of their ship. There is a collective sigh of relief, and even a few soft cheers. They have weathered yet another cosmic squall, together. But the work is not complete. Almost immediately, trained teams don their protective suits and set out to inspect the ship for damage. In pairs, they venture into sections that were sealed off, checking for any breaches or system malfunctions. One team cycles through an airlock to perform an EVA, extravehicular activity, outside the ship. They tether themselves and float along the hull under the faint starlight, examining the pitted surface. Here and there, they find the scars of the storm, tiny craters where dust motes struck at high velocity, charred streaks where the shields bled off energy, a cracked sensor cover that will need replacement. It could have been far worse. Over the next days, repairs are made. A new segment is fitted to the damaged sensor array. Microscopic punctures in a radiator panel are sealed by remotely operated drones. The crew takes inventory of supplies used and finds their preparedness paid off. Only minor stores of patching material and power were expended. In the greenhouse, they recheck the plants. A few leaves show slight yellowing, perhaps from a brief radiation spike or a momentary drop in air pressure when that compartment was sealed. Those will recover. The ship's main systems are all still fully functional. Perhaps the greatest toll was on everyone's nerves, but even that is quickly mending. In the aftermath, the crew gathers in the common area for a brief, informal ceremony, something they do after every major challenge. They share a few words of gratitude that they have come through safely. Someone produces a small flask of carefully rationed spirits distilled on board from algae, a special indulgence saved for such occasions. Together they toast to the ship that protects them, to colleagues who acted with discipline and courage, and to the stars for sparing them a worst-case scenario this time. As they disperse back to their duties, there is a renewed sense of fellowship among these travellers. Each storm they survive becomes a story to pass on to the next generation, a testament to their resilience. The youngest members of the crew, those who perhaps felt fear gnaw at them in the shelter, now see how their elders confront danger with competence and composure. It is a lesson more powerful than any lecture. In the void, unity and level-headed resolve are their best defense. The ship sails on, outward bound, carrying a few more scratches on its hull and a bit more wisdom in its community. In the quiet that follows the cosmic storm, there is a profound appreciation for the return of peace. The stars outside shine steadily once more, as if nothing had happened. But inside, everyone knows that something indeed occurred. They were tested by the void's fury, and once again, they prevailed. Life aboard soon falls back into its steady rhythm. The crew resumes the tasks that fill their days and keep their world running. Every person has duties that interlock with the others, forming the intricate machinery of their self-sustained society. In hydroponics, farmers tend to rows of green plants, harvesting vegetables and fruits that will become the day's meals. In the workshop, engineers fabricate replacement parts with 3D printers and careful handiwork, keeping critical systems in good repair. Teachers gather the children in a small learning bay, using holograms and old videos to educate them in everything from mathematics to the history of Earth. There is comfort in these routines. Each job is essential. Each contribution gives a sense of purpose. People know that when they clean an air filter or tune a navigation sensor, they are helping to preserve the little oasis of life that is their ship. Keeping busy and having meaningful work helps everyone stay grounded and content. Over time, the crew has developed a culture all their own. What was once a mission has become a moving village, with traditions and rituals born of their unique circumstances. Every so often, they hold a Void Day celebration, a special gathering to mark another year of the journey completed. On this day, work is lightened and the community comes together in the central hall. They string up makeshift decorations crafted from recycled materials, garlands of coloured foil salvaged from old thermal blankets, and mobiles made of spare circuit boards that glitter in the lamplight. The cooks prepare a treat from their limited pantry, perhaps a sweet cake baked from hydroponic wheat and algae-derived sugar. There are speeches recalling the departure from Earth, now generations in the past, and honouring those who have since passed during the voyage. They play music, some tunes handed down from Earth, others composed by creative souls on board. With laughter and a few tears, they celebrate the mere fact that they continue together on this endless odyssey. Not all days are festive, of course. Much of the time, life is simply life. Families eat meals in the galley, chatting about the day's small events. Friends meet in the exercise room for daily workouts under the artificial gravity, crucial to staying healthy. In the evenings, individuals pursue hobbies that sustain the mind. One young man strums an acoustic guitar, the same instrument whose gentle notes often graced the silence, and teaches a small group of children an old folk song. In another compartment, a few people gather for a book club, reading chapters from a centuries-old novel and then discussing it as if they were in a cozy Earth library. The ship's library, in fact, is a digital archive containing thousands of books, movies, and recordings from Earth's cultures. Through these, the travellers keep a connection to the heritage of humanity, even as they forge new stories of their own. They have also learned to cope with the confinement of their environment in inventive ways. The physical space of the ship, though carefully designed, is limited. Metal corridors, small cabins, communal areas that double as recreation and dining spaces. Early in the voyage, psychologists worried that the crew might feel trapped or claustrophobic over the years, like prisoners with no escape. And indeed, if one dwells on the fact, the ship is a tiny bubble amid a vast emptiness. But humans are adaptable. Many aboard have never felt the open expanse of a planetary sky, having been born on the ship. This vessel is the only home they know, and its confines feel normal to them. Even those who remember Earth have learned to adjust. They personalize their quarters with holographic scenery or lovingly painted murals of imagined vistas. They create the illusion of space and variety through technology as well. Virtual reality programs allow anyone to step into a simulation of open fields, forests, or city streets whenever they wish. A brief mental vacation that refreshes the spirit. One crew member might spend an hour strolling along a virtual beach at sunset, feeling synthesized sand underfoot and hearing waves lap the shore through her headphones. Another might don a VR visor to visit a simulated museum, or wander a digital recreation of a city boulevard. These experiences, though artificial, provide genuine comfort. They remind people of what wide-open life felt like, and for the youngsters, they serve as windows into worlds they've never seen with their own eyes. Far from descending into despair, the society on the ship has flourished in its own way. Early skeptics of the project had predicted dire outcomes. Loneliness, madness, even rebellion. Some said that being stuck in a metal cylinder for generations would be comparable to a life sentence in prison and surely lead to psychological breakdowns. But those fears did not materialize. Human beings, it turns out, can find freedom in companionship and purpose, even within steel walls. Instead of feeling like inmates, many here feel more like monks in a remote monastery or settlers in a secluded outpost, living a pared-down life that, while physically confined, is rich in community and intent. They have structure, cooperation, and hope, the antithesis of despair. And crucially, they have each other. The social fabric aboard is carefully maintained. Disputes do happen from time to time. No community is without the friction of differing personalities and opinions. But conflicts are addressed openly, with mediation and empathy. There is a council of elected crew members that meets regularly to discuss shipwide issues and to resolve any interpersonal quarrels that arise. These council meetings are an exercise in patience and understanding. Everyone knows that grudges and divisions cannot be afforded in the void. The council's guiding principle is simple. We are all we have. This reality tends to keep arguments in perspective. People make up quickly, forgive readily, and strive to be considerate neighbours. The close quarters mean that cooperation isn't just virtuous, it's necessary for survival and sanity. Milestones of life are given special significance aboard. When a child is born, an event that might happen once a year or less, given the small population, the entire ship rejoices. The baby is a living symbol of renewal, a statement that life carries on into the future. There is a naming ceremony held in the greenhouse, amid the oxygen-rich air of the plants, the subtle scent of green leaves, and the glow of grow lights. The crew gathers as the parents hold their infant and speak the chosen name. Often these names have meanings connected to the journey. Nova, Celeste, Aurora, or names borrowed from ancient Earth mythology. After a birth, the cooks find a way to bake a few sweet biscuits or another rare treat to share, and everyone dances a little longer that evening, buoyed by the joy of new life. For the sake of sustainability, the ship's population is kept deliberately modest and stable. New children are born only at a pace that the life support systems can comfortably nurture, essentially replacing those who pass away. Thus, the crew usually numbers only in the few hundreds. Moreover, measures are in place to preserve genetic diversity. Among the original supplies were stored seeds, embryos, and DNA samples from Earth's peoples, intended as a reserve to introduce new genetic lines, if ever needed. With this forethought, they guard against the risks of inbreeding and ensure their small society remains healthy as it passes from one generation to the next. On the other end of the spectrum, when a member of the community dies, whether due to illness or age, they are honoured and remembered. In a sombre tradition, the body of the departed is committed to the stars. Sometimes this means a small capsule is released into space during a brief ceremony, sending their remains into the endless night. Other times, especially as resources grew tighter, it means the body is gently recycled in the life support systems, transformed into the fundamental elements that sustain the living. Either way, the emotional weight is the same. They bid farewell with stories and songs, celebrating the person's contributions and ensuring their memory lives on. In the observation dome, candles or soft lights are arranged, and the crew sings a slow, haunting melody that has been passed down since the first generation. The words speak of returning to Starlight and the voyage continuing onward. In those moments, every person feels the dual truth of their existence, how small each individual life is against the cosmic backdrop, and yet how immense the loss of a friend or family member can be within their little world. Relationships form the tapestry of shipboard life. Friendships blossom easily in the close-knit environment, and romantic love finds its way into the hearts of many. There have been marriages, or the equivalent, since formal legalities of Earth no longer apply, performed in the ship's park module, a modest space where a few trees and tall plants grow, providing a hint of nature. In one such ceremony, a couple stood under the gently rustling boughs of a young willow tree, grown from a sapling that sprouted in the ship's soil, and exchanged vows of partnership. The entire community attended, filling the air with warm applause and tears of happiness. They crafted rings from polished metal scrap and recited promises not unlike those on Earth, with an added pledge: to voyage together, come what may among the stars. These unions are not just private affairs. They are a source of collective optimism. A wedding means faith in the future, a declaration that even on an endless journey, life is worth living fully. Children are few, but treasured. They are raised not only by their parents, but, in a sense, by the whole community, an extended family of aunts, uncles, and mentors. Every adult takes seriously the duty to teach and care for the youngsters. The ship's school is informal. Lessons happen in small groups, often hands-on. A retired astronomer leads the children in calculating the ship's trajectory using basic arithmetic, turning it into a game of find the next star. An artist, who doubles as a navigation officer, teaches drawing and creative expression, encouraging the kids to paint murals on one corridor's walls, depicting how they imagine alien worlds might look. These murals add colour and wonder to the utilitarian ship interiors. Splashes of ocean blue and forest green on grey metal, or swirling rings around fanciful planets. The children's presence aboard injects an element of play and hope that nothing else can. Their laughter echoing down the halls is like an antidote to the monotony that could otherwise creep in. In them, the elders see the promise that when their own days end, the mission, the dream, will continue. What matters more is ship time, the here and now of their voyage. They mark eras by events the ship experiences. This child was born the year we crossed the Orion Gulf, one might say, using their own star charts to name stretches of space. Or, that was before the second refueling at Tau Ceti. History is becoming what happens to them, not just what happened back on Earth. Still, they have not forgotten their origins. In weekly story circles, an elder or a historian recites tales of Earth, how the sky looked from the deserts and mountains, how billions of people once lived on a single globe, how the decision was made to send this colony forth. These tales are like their mythology, and their link to a reality outside the ship. The children listen wide-eyed, especially to the story of the launch, imagining the giant rocket, the brave souls who first stepped aboard this very ship, the initial acceleration that no one on board now actually experienced firsthand, since the original crew are long gone. Even now, at long intervals, the crew aim a transmission beam toward the ancient cradle of humanity, sending a brief report of their voyage in the hope that someone, somewhere might hear it. They know the silence will almost certainly answer, but the act itself is comforting, a promise to the cosmos and their forebears that they persist and remember. To keep everyone mentally healthy, the community emphasizes open communication and creative outlets. There are regular gatherings where people can voice their feelings, something like group therapy, though they simply call it circle time. In one such meeting, individuals share both joys and anxieties. One admits feeling cooped up after a long stretch of quiet travel. Another expresses excitement about a new skill learned or a personal project completed. By sharing, they lighten each other's burdens. The tradition started early in the voyage and proved so helpful that it became a cornerstone of their life. No one needs to suffer in silence. There is always an ear willing to listen in the void. Despite the isolation from the rest of humanity, the people aboard do not generally feel lonely. How can they, when surrounded by friends and family who truly understand their experience? In fact, in some ways, they feel less alone than a solitary soul might have on crowded Earth. Because here, every relationship is vital and deeply felt. They celebrate each other's achievements, no matter how small, because they know that individual well-being feeds the health of the whole. If someone masters a new skill, say, a young cook perfecting a recipe from limited ingredients, others cheer them on and eagerly sample the results. If someone is struggling, be it with sadness or the stress of an equipment malfunction they had to fix under pressure, others notice and extend kindness, perhaps offering to take a shift for them or leaving a handwritten note of encouragement on their door. Together in the void, these voyagers have built a life that is both ordinary in its daily patterns and extraordinary in its context. Their world may be bounded by metal walls and maintained by life support algorithms, but it is also filled with laughter, learning, love, and the full tapestry of human experience. In the endless night, they have one another, and that has been enough, more than enough, to turn an endless voyage into a living home. Years pass, and the stars outside shift ever so slowly. The journey continues through the deep, but it is not unbroken darkness forever. Eventually, there comes a time when the crew experiences something wondrous, the approach to a new star. It has been a very long while since they last felt the glow of a sun warming their world. The stellar maps and navigation data have prepared them for this rendezvous, but no preparation can fully capture the emotion of the moment. At first, the star is just a brightening point of light on the forward views. Unlike the static stars that have surrounded them for decades, this one grows day by day. What was once a pinprick becomes a distinct disk with a colour and fire of its own. The crew find excuses to visit the observation ports more frequently, watching that pale beacon swell in size. It is an old, familiar kind of anticipation, like awaiting sunrise after a long polar night. They begin calling the star Aurora for its dawn-like gift of light, though its catalogue designation is a string of numbers. Aurora is a golden star, a little smaller and warmer than the sun of Earth. As the ship draws nearer, the darkness of space gives way to a gentle amber sheen. The hull, long accustomed to blackness, starts to reflect a faint glow. The approach is carefully choreographed. Weeks in advance, the ship's trajectory is adjusted so that they will fall into orbit around Aurora's largest planet, a massive gas giant banded in tawny clouds with a retinue of moons. The plan is to use the giant planet's gravity to brake the ship's speed, saving precious fuel, and to take advantage of the star's energy and resources. It's the first star system they have encountered since leaving their origin, and it offers a chance for renewal. As Aurora's gravity begins to tug on them, the crew feel a slight shift, a gentle deceleration unusual after so many years of constant coasting. The engines, largely quiet during the transit, rumble to life in reverse thrust, easing the ship into a stable orbit. For the first time in a generation, they are not merely passing through a void, but entering a celestial neighborhood. The golden star Aurora rises over the bow as the ship maneuvers. When they finally settle into orbit around the gas giant, the crew take in a breathtaking view. Below them swirls an enormous planet, banded in stripes of ochre and cream, storms brewing in its atmosphere. The star Aurora's light paints everything in honeyed tones. After so long under the cold, distant glitter of stars, the richness of real sunlight feels almost surreal. On the day they achieve orbit, the captain allows an extraordinary event. In the hydroponics garden, the closest thing they have to a park, there are shutters in the ceiling that have always remained closed, shielding the plants from cosmic radiation and micrometeoroids. Now, for a short while, those shutters are opened. Filtered and tamed through layers of protective glass, a shaft of Aurora's sunlight pours into the greenhouse. The effect is instantaneous and magical. The leaves of fruit trees and vegetable plants seem to glow with an inner life under the real star's rays. Colours are more vibrant. The air itself, carrying a hint of warmth, feels alive. The crew gather in the garden, faces turned upward to bask in natural light. Many close their eyes, letting the gentle warmth fall on their eyelids. Some of the older members feel tears welling up. It has been so long since they felt a sun on their skin. The children giggle at the brightness and dance among the rows of tomato vines, casting shadows for the first time that aren't from an artificial lamp. In this moment, every person feels a profound rejuvenation. It is as if Aurora's energy is charging not only the ship's batteries, but their very spirits. Indeed, practical recharging is underway as well. The ship deploys broad arrays of solar collectors, unfurling them like metallic wings to drink in the star's power. Banks of long dormant cells come alive with electricity, replenishing reserves that had been steadily drawn down during the voyage. For once, the fusion reactors and life support systems can ease their constant labour and let a sun do some of the work. Aurora's solar wind gently buffets the vessel's magnetic shields, but here, near a star, that wind is expected and welcome. It is the breath of a sun, familiar and life-giving. Beyond energy, this star system offers material resources the crew has long awaited. Scans reveal that one of the gas giant's many moons is rich in ice. A mission is planned and executed with both caution and excitement. A lander detaches from the ship, carrying a small team of explorers, its first human passengers in many years to venture so far from the mothership. When the lander touches down on the frozen surface of that moon, those on board become the first of their people in decades, and for some, in their entire lives, to set foot on natural ground. They exit the lander in pressurized suits, stepping onto alien terrain. The ground crunches underfoot, a thin crust of crystalline frost over hard-packed ice. Above them, the sky is an expanse of starry black, but unlike the view from the ship, here a huge portion of it is dominated by the looming presence of the gas giant planet, striped and immense, hanging overhead like a marbled sky. In the distance, low ridges of ice shimmer in Aurora's light. The explorers move carefully, awe competing with duty in their hearts. They set to work quickly. Autonomous rovers and drills begin carving out blocks of ice, while the crew oversee and collect samples. But each person finds a moment to savor this experience. One geologist kneels and runs a gloved hand through fine, powdery ice crystals on the ground, marveling at their texture. Another crew member looks up at the golden star in the alien sky, smaller and gentler than Earth's sun, but still brilliant, and feels its warmth on the visor of her helmet. She murmurs into her suitcom, "So this is what a sunrise is like here." Her words travel back to the ship, where others listen, and many smile. Even those who remained on board feel connected to this historic landing. The operation lasts several days. The crew rotates shifts on the moon's surface, giving as many people as possible the chance to experience it, while also getting the job done efficiently. They establish a temporary base near a particularly ice-rich crater. Large slabs of ice are cut, hauled, and loaded into the lander's hold. In that ice lies water, precious water that will replenish their life support stores, providing breathable oxygen and drinkable supplies for years to come. Minerals gathered from the moon's crust will be processed back on the ship, refreshing their stock of raw elements for manufacturing. It is literally a resupply from nature, something they have not had since leaving Earth. There is even a bit of scientific exploration. They take samples to analyze whether this moon ever had geological activity, or perhaps even the faint chemical signatures of life in some ancient era. The findings will keep the science team busy and excited for a long time. Throughout the harvesting mission, the crew remain mindful of safety and contamination. This is uncharted territory. No human or probe from Earth has ever been here before. They operate under strict protocols to ensure no terrestrial microbes accidentally contaminate the Moon, and likewise that nothing harmful is brought back. The likelihood of life on this barren ice ball is extremely low, yet they are cautious. Each astronaut returning from the surface undergoes decontamination, and the samples are sealed until analysis confirms they pose no threat. In the end, all goes smoothly. They have successfully refueled their voyage with the bounty of this new sun's realm, and done so without incident. Before they depart, the crew decide to leave a token of their presence in this system. They deploy a small beacon in orbit around that icy moon, a hardened capsule containing recordings of their voices, pictures of the crew, and a summary of their journey so far. It is a cosmic message in a bottle, left drifting under Aurora's light. Perhaps, they reason, someday in the distant future, another traveller or a descendant of humanity might find it. If so, that finder will know that the Starlight Nomads were here, and that life from a far-off world touched these shores of another sun. Inevitably, the time comes to continue the voyage. The supplies are secured, the ship's systems revitalized, and the data collected. They have spent some months under Aurora's grace, and could linger longer, but the mission beckons them onward. The next target star lies far beyond, and they cannot tarry if future generations are to have a chance of reaching a truly habitable world. So preparations are made for departure. FC. The crew take one last opportunity to soak in Aurora's rays. The greenhouse shutters are opened once more before closing for good, allowing natural light to flood their little Eden for an afternoon. The plants have noticeably perked up under real sunlight, almost as if reluctant to return to the dimmer glow of LEDs. Cuttings from the healthiest specimens are taken. Perhaps the star-kissed vines and saplings will carry a bit of extra vigour as they resume growing under artificial light. As the star's light dims behind them, the crew hold on to what they've gained. They carry barrels of water, bins of ore, and full batteries. They also carry memories of golden days and real sunrises that will brighten the long nights ahead. In a symbolic gesture, the captain declares that a small portion of Aurora's water will be set aside for special ceremonies, perhaps a few drops to bless future newborns or to toast major milestones. In this way, a piece of the star's gift will remain with them. The ship re-enters the deep interstellar dark, but it is not the same darkness as before. Now the crew have evidence of the cycle of their journey. Long stretches of quiet and hardship, punctuated by moments of light and renewal. They know that even if years of silence lie ahead, another sun likely waits farther on, and with it, new chances to revive and replenish. This knowledge is a wellspring of optimism. That night, as the ship glides onward into darkness once more, a mother sits with her young daughter by a viewport. The child gazes at the stars ahead and asks in a drowsy voice, "Will the next sun have a planet for us?" The mother gently strokes her hair and smiles, describing the vision she's carried in her heart. A green world under a warm sun, with blue skies one can breathe and clouds that bring rain, with soft soil to stand on, and rivers that sing as they flow. As the mother speaks, painting pictures of swaying trees and open meadows, where one day the girl might run free, the child closes her eyes. She drifts into dreams, filled with imagined sunlight and open air. Around them, the ship's lights are dimmed to mimic night, and the stars outside remain silent witnesses. In that quiet moment, one generation imparts to the next the hope of a promised land. It is a hope that has sustained them through long years in space. The faith that somewhere ahead, under some distant sun, there is a place where they will finally feel the grass under their feet and truly call it home. And even if that destination is still far away, tonight, that hope lives brightly in a child's dreams as the endless voyage carries on. And so, as the ship sails deeper into the infinite night, these nomads of the stars carry their home within them and journey onward, ever hopeful that the new dawn they seek will one day bloom under a far-off sky. We drift through the endless sea of stars, gently guided by the soft radiance of uncharted constellations. Each distant light glimmers with possibilities as we chart a course among celestial landmarks unknown. Familiar patterns dissolve into new formations beyond our old horizons, and with each turn of our vessel, a fresh tapestry of stars unfolds, telling stories of the infinite space around us. We listen quietly to the gentle hum of the universe, letting its low, constant pulse set the rhythm for our steady voyage across the cosmic ocean. Using the ship's star maps and navigational instruments, we steer carefully between those distant lights, as if drawing lines across an invisible sky map. Below us, the corridors murmur with the subdued routines of life aboard. Crew members settle into sleep, cradled by that same soft starlight that blankets our world tonight. Even in these quiet hours, the cosmos seems to soothe us, lulling our dreams with a gentle, guiding lullaby. Gazing at the stars has become a cherished pastime aboard the ship. On quiet evenings, small groups of crew gather at the observation dome to share stories about the new patterns above them. Someone might trace a curve in the sky with their finger and say it looks like the tail of a comet or the wings of a mythical bird. In these moments, we find comfort and connection, each of us projecting memories and imaginations onto the heavens. Even the children get involved, pointing out shapes they imagine as friendly creatures of the night. At our workstations and in the ship's planning bay, charts of these new constellations line the walls. Engineers who spent years navigating by Earth's stars now quietly adapt as they plot our route by these unfamiliar beacons. There is a gentle pride in that. We are not lost, but pioneers forming our own celestial law. Sometimes in the middle of routine checks, a navigator will pause and remark on the beauty of a particular cluster, setting aside the calculations for a moment to simply be present. We smile at that reminder that even amid duties and calculations, the night sky can still inspire wonder. In the crew lounges and cabins, star charts and personal sketches have become part of the decor and routine. Someone sketches a line of stars on a cabin wall, immortalizing a pattern they saw through their viewport. Others decorate personal items with star symbols, a constellation embroidered on a uniform patch, or a coffee mug engraved with a star shape found on our maps. Life aboard has learned to incorporate these lights as landmarks of meaning. Even walking through the sterile hallways, we feel guided by the unseen lights we have mapped, carrying a bit of home wherever we go. We recall the familiar constellations of home: Orion's Belt, Cassiopeia's W shape, the Great Bear. But now these once trusty guides have drifted, distorted by the vast distances we have crossed. Each night, the cabin lights dim, and we gaze in wonder as old favourites warp into strange new configurations. What were once known patterns have been remapped into unrecognisable shapes. The night sky outside our vessel's windows is like a cosmic kaleidoscope, constantly shifting with the motions of our ship and the swirl of galaxies beyond. In this way, even ancient myths and legends of the stars feel like distant dreams, giving way to brand new stories written in light. Our crew has learned to chart these new stars with fresh eyes. Using the ship's advanced telescopes, we trace lines between these glowing points to create star charts of our own, bringing order to the cosmos, one connection at a time. Engineers and dreamers alike give these patterns names drawn from our voyage. A comet's tail, a winged creature, a constellation of hope. Even the children aboard have star charts on the walls of their cabin, proudly pointing out patterns they have discovered and named in the darkness above. Each new designation becomes a quiet celebration of exploration, a small victory in a vast frontier. In this way, the dark expanse feels less empty, and we leave our own footprints in the tapestry of the night. Standing before the panoramic expanse, each of us feels a peaceful connection to the heavens. The act of finding form in the void is comforting, as if we are explorers, dipping our hands into the universe's palette, painting continuity and familiarity onto the darkness. At night, some of us gather near the observation domes, opening the shutters to let the first stars of our new sky spill in like starlight memories. Below, the gentle hum of the ship is all that underscores the silence of space. The stars themselves remain silent, but through the constellations we create, they tell us stories about our own small place in this grand cosmos. In these moments, we understand that though the constellations have changed, our impulse to name them remains unaltered by distance or time. Even as we chart fresh patterns, we are reminded that even stars themselves are in motion. Over the eons, these points of light will drift slightly, altering the designs we painstakingly trace today. For example, the hunter's belt may edge into an entirely new neighbour, and the shape of the bear might stretch as we glide through the spiral arms. This tells us that our drawings of constellations are ephemeral attempts to make sense of something much larger and ever-changing. Each mapping we make is a snapshot of the sky's current state, destined to evolve as galaxies rotate and time flows. In accepting this, we find solace, understanding that our efforts are part of an unending journey of discovery, connecting past, present, and future travelers among the stars. As our journey continues, we realize that the sky holds more than just points of light. Ahead in the distance, wisps of glowing gas and dust begin to shiver with the light of hidden stars. These are the nebulae, luminous veils that stretch across the void, painting it in shades of twilight purple, blue, and gold. They move slowly, as if breathing, and invite us into a different realm of the cosmos. We guide the ship carefully forward, gliding toward these gentle pillars of creation and shadow. We ease into the heart of the nebula, and instantly the darkness softens around us. The starlight passing through wafts of cosmic gas is tinted in pastel hues, wrapping our ship in a gentle, ethereal glow. Looking out, we see curtains of amber, rose, and violet drifting past, each cloud streaked with the light of distant newborn stars. For a moment, it feels as if we have become part of a painting, painted into a scene where every brushstroke is made of light and shadow. We realize we are traveling through a cosmic nursery. Hidden behind the shifting veils, tiny protostars ignite into existence, sparks of light taking shape in the nebula's womb. Our ship's sensors hum softly, tuned to detect the faint warmth of these newborn suns, and we witness the moment of creation as gas coalesces into the first spark of stellar life. It is humbling to think that in this serene cloak of colour, galaxies billions of years old are giving birth to things anew. As we drift, we almost feel the heartbeat of the nebula pulsing through our ship, quiet and steady as the pattern of creation unfolds. We watch as silvery flecks of light glimmer like fireflies in a mist, each hinting at vast processes beyond our knowing. The nebula's colours are not just pretty ribbons. They are signatures of hydrogen and oxygen, glowing under the star's newborn heat. It's as if the very elements of the universe are performing a silent symphony, and we are privileged spectators. Inside this nebulous cocoon, the ordinary worries of life aboard fade into insignificance. All that remains is wonder at the artistry of the cosmos around us. Time seems to slow as we wander through the nebula's embrace. The usual hum of the ship's machinery is hushed by the weightless silence of space. For a while, there is only the steady glow of starlight filtered through cosmic fog, and our hearts sync with the gentle cadence of the universe. In the narrow observation corridor, crew members pause in reverence. Some reach out as if to touch the glowing mist, knowing only the windows separate them from the cloud. We feel connected to the universe's quiet rhythms, as if it is whispering truths meant just for us. Inside the nebula, time itself feels slower. Out in the observatory, luminous wisps drift by like clouds on a slow-moving river. As our ship glides forward, we are wrapped in the nebula's glow, as though sailing through a field of lanterns. We share silent smiles as the usual dark starscape is replaced by a living panorama of shifting colour. It almost feels like a sunrise that never fully sets, a gentle, persistent twilight casting long shadows and quiet reflections across the hull. Our instruments pick up that this colourful haze is mostly hydrogen gas, glowing red in the soft light of young stars. Pockets of blue-green mark oxygen shining faintly among the clouds. Even though this gas is too thin to feel, to our eyes it feels like swimming in a translucent bath of cosmic wonder. Each element's glow is like a paintbrush on the sky, slowly blending old light into new shapes. The effect is mesmerizing, reminding us that even a blank space can become a canvas of art if seen in the right way. Away from the nebula's glow, the stars themselves change character. They no longer appear as crisp points of light, but as soft, diffused halos behind the mist. Some stars hide entirely behind thicker regions, leaving only the nebula's glow where a star once shone. When we slip out of the densest parts, those stars return in focus, almost as if they blink back into existence. These contrasts, darkness and light, shadow and glow, give the nebula a three-dimensional depth that feels almost tangible. The nebula outside also becomes part of life aboard in subtle ways. In the communal lounge, we dim the cabin lights to watch the colours drift by like a living symphony. Some crew quietly knit or read, allowing the nebula's hues to paint gentle patterns on their thoughts. It's like sharing a silent concert. No instruments or voices, only our eyes and the great clouds of gas performing. Many say these nights are soothing for the mind, breaking the monotony of ship life with something wondrous. Even during routine tasks, the nebula touches us. Engineers report that checking engine gauges feels brighter when the nebula's light filters through vents, illuminating control panels with warm tints. In the galley, meals become communal observances. Cooks and diners glance up at the view between bites, marveling at the swirling colours. In those moments, rank and duty feel set aside. For a bit, we are simply people sharing a meal under an alien dawn. In the nights that follow, some crew keep fragments of that beauty alive. The observatory becomes a favourite spot for storytelling. We sip a quiet herbal tea from our hydroponic garden, watching wisps of nebula glow, and take turns recounting folklore of the stars. There is talk of future legends. Perhaps one day, these nebulae will have names given by our people, commemorating the journey we share. In crafting stories and memories, the nebula becomes more than passing scenery. It is a living chapter in our voyage. Eventually, our voyage carries us out of the nebula's embrace. Slowly, the warm glow dims, and space returns to its familiar, star-speckled darkness. The corridor of nebula now lies behind us, like a dream, slowly fading at dawn. Yet something inside us has changed. The quiet creativity of those clouds lingers in our minds. We feel as though we have participated in creation itself, and that feeling stays with us as the familiar silence of deep space resumes around our ship. After some hours, as we coast onward, the nebula's colours begin to fade. Outside the dome, the brilliant hues give way to the familiar inkiness of space, punctuated by starlight. But in each of us, the experience lingers. Our minds replay the luminous silhouettes and gentle shadows we have just traversed. We have seen creation slowly unfold before our eyes. For a moment, we were part of something much larger than ourselves. The nebula taught us that even in emptiness, there can be quiet celebration and beauty. As the nebula's glow fades entirely, we return to the profound silence of deep space. But that silence is not empty. It carries a subtle murmur if we know how to listen. Our instruments, finely tuned, begin to pick up faint pulses and whispers from across the void. It's as if the universe is humming its own quiet melody, a background hiss of distant galaxies, the faint beating of a star's heart, or perhaps something even more mysterious. In the stillness of deep space, every faint signal feels like a greeting from the cosmos. Each soft pulse captured by our array can be interpreted as the universe's way of saying, hello. We often joke that the fabric of space is telling us bedtime stories in electronic chirps. When everything is calm aboard and no words are spoken, these whispers are our conversation. Even the smallest blip or hiss can brighten our night, reminding us that we are listening. We remember the early days of Earth radio, when static between stations meant nothing, and yet filled the air. Here, it is different. Each crackle and soft roar of radio waves seems meaningful. Our children on board are fascinated. They fall asleep with the gentle symphony humming in their ears, as if lulled by the stars themselves. We have become accustomed to this background choir, and it has become as much a part of our night as the stars we see. We sit quietly in the observation bay as the delicate static fills our instruments, sounding like distant waves on a cosmic shore. There are pulses of radio waves from spinning neutron stars, each beat like a cosmic lighthouse in the night. We listen to the calls of far-off radio galaxies, warped by time and space, arriving centuries after being sent. Some of these signals might be billions of years old, the universe speaking to us from its own past. Occasionally, a rhythmic pulse stands out, a beacon from a spinning neutron star far away, sending light years of waves our way on a precise, metronomic beat. When our instruments lock onto those beats, we feel a quiet thrill, as if someone on the other end of the universe has tapped a spoon on the rim of a cosmic bowl. But the pulses are not directed at us. They're just nature's steady heartbeats. Still, they make us smile in the dark, feeling a kinship in rhythm with distant suns. As the data pours in, our minds automatically seek familiar patterns. We wonder if any organized message is hidden in the noise, or if it is pure chance. Perhaps it is only natural phenomenon at work, but in the hush, imagination is free to explore. Even if the answer remains unknown, the very act of listening feels like reaching out across the cosmos. For now, we remain content to listen without answers, marveling that the universe is speaking at all. In the static, we can almost make out the faintest trace of the primordial background, the cool whisper of the universe's birth. It surrounds us, filling the blackness with a uniform glow that stretches in every direction. This ancient murmur is a reminder of where it all began. We think of the first moments after time began, and we listen, feeling strangely comforted by this soft, constant presence. It suggests that even in the void, echoes of creation remain, gently nudging us forward. The universe also whispers in frequencies we cannot hear. We know that powerful events, stars collapsing, black holes colliding, send ripples through space. We have instruments for that too, and occasionally we feel the faint tremor of some distant cataclysm reaching us. The notion is soothing in its own way. In this perfect silence, space itself still speaks to us, as if to say, we are not alone, that change and motion continue beyond our sight. Each star we pass now feels alive with hidden conversations. In the dark of the observation deck, we sometimes close our eyes and just listen, letting our instruments become the ears through which we share the universe's secrets. The hum of the cosmos has become like a friend at night, a reassurance that the void is full of wonder rather than emptiness. We drift into sleep each night, with the radio's gentle ghosts singing overhead, and in that way, we know we journey together with the stars. As we continue our course, the quiet chatter of the cosmos has reshaped how we see the distant stars ahead. We now imagine that each bright pinprick might be a sun with its own planets and secrets. The whispers we've heard are like letters in bottles sent across the gulfs of space, and the flickering lights ahead are the signposts that guide us forward. Even though we cannot yet touch those far-off worlds, we feel them drawing nearer as we sail through the dark. And with our ears attuned to the universe's soft speech, we turn our attention to the path of light stretching out toward them. Each time we draw near a bright star, our excitement quietly grows. We turn our ship's sensors toward these glowing beacons, trying to discern the secrets hidden in their light. Some stars shine with a steady white glow, others flicker in golden hues, hinting at cooler worlds. Perhaps orbiting each of these suns there are planets we cannot see, maybe even familiar ones with water or life. For now they are just points of light, but in our dreams they hold the promise of new horizons. Our advanced telescopes and spectrometers strain to pull every hint from these distant flames. Sometimes, when a planet passes in front of a star, the light flickers in a telltale pattern. Just this week, a gentle dip in a star's brightness made us stop in our tracks. There it was, a new exoplanet in silhouette against its sun. We haven't named it yet, but already it feels like a personal discovery. We share quiet smiles and relieved exhalations as we confirm another dot on the map of known worlds. In the quiet moments that follow a discovery, we let our minds wander. What might that distant planet be like? Is it a world of gentle seas or towering mountains? Might it have wind-song forests or deserts of crystal dunes under alien skies? Each of us pictures it differently. Children wonder if they could play on its beaches. Scientists discuss its hidden chemistry. For a moment, that tiny glimmer of light is as real to us as home. Its sun, a fireplace, warming a far-off haven we might one day reach. Every person aboard feels the pull of those distant lights. They become silent companions on our journey, tiny beacons of hope flickering in the night. Each one speaks a language of possibility. Even across the void, connection can exist. They remind us that light itself is an ambassador, reaching across time and space to show that we are part of something larger. We often think of our own sun, which to others might look like just another star. Out here, every sun glinting in the darkness is a reminder of that shared bond, and it brings a comforting warmth to our long voyage. Sometimes, as we look up at those distant stars, a quiet hush falls over the ship. We share our feelings in soft-spoken wonder, each person lost in the thought of worlds unseen. In conversation, we might note how every colour of light could paint an alien sky, how every bright dot might warm a different life. Our diaries begin to fill with sketches and thoughts of what could be, capturing a deep curiosity that dances in our hearts. As the stars guide us, every new dawn on the ship feels like a small celebration. The first light of a nearby sun warms the deck exactly like sunrise, and we work in quiet gratitude. Meals are often punctuated by pointing out a glow on the horizon, and even mundane tasks are touched by the hues of other skies. We often pause to remember that our own sun looks the same as one of those many lights. Somewhere on Earth, someone could be gazing at our star without knowing we exist. Our instruments sometimes catch the faint green signature of a possible atmosphere, or the telltale wisp of methane far beyond. Each time we suspect a planet, a gentle thrill runs through the bridge crew. We run the calculations, excitedly considering if that world could be rocky like Earth, or shrouded in ammonia clouds like Jupiter. Even when our team reports a likely barren gas giant, we still marvel. Each discovery, no matter how small, is proof of the richness of this universe. It's in moments like these that the concept of home feels both close and far away. We feel homesick under these new suns, imagining the civilizations that might thrive, or the simple silent seas that might lap an alien shore. At night, we silently toast Earth's distant light, whispering thanks that it still reaches us across the void. And yet, as strange as it sounds, in this endless night among the stars, we begin to feel at home ourselves. As the ship pushes onward, our spirits remain bright with wonder. Under the gentle sway of space, each crew member drifts to sleep, embraced by these distant lights. In the darkness of the void, we stay connected to something larger. By the lights of worlds around us, we carry hope for our journey. It is just another quiet night on this endless voyage, and we know tomorrow holds more mysteries waiting to be discovered.